Psalm 133. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments. As the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion, for there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore.
A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another.
A lot of our leaders the past 20, 30 years,
right,
they weren't exactly what you would call Christian men or women. It's easy to see that President Obama was very sympathetic towards the Islamic cause. Very sympathetic. I remember Bill O'Reilly saying once, he did a whole segment on Obama and his ties to Islam. And he concluded that if he's not a Muslim, he's very sympathetic towards it. And I tell you, man, there's a lot of reason to believe that he's got, he donated a lot of money in his time in office to convert prisoners to Islam. I mean, go figure that. Well, why would you do that?
Gotcha. All right, let's see if we are live on Facebook.
Mine says live on Facebook.
You can see the feed?
Yeah, up here. Well, let's see. I'm on. Did you post that up on Brothers Dwelling in Unity page?
I'm about to, but I want to make sure.
Okay, and then go to your page and see by the feed. How is Maryland?
A little chilly.
A little chilly. All right, there we are. All right,
chilly.
so copy link.
So you can see us on Facebook there, Bill?
I can.
All right, that's awesome. That is awesome. Should be on my timeline. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, that's where I see you at. She's on side. Let's see.
Okay.
Well, let me do that. All right, there.
Yeah, it's been a while since we
since we met.
Right, since we linked up.
You talking about the two of us, or are you talking about just doing this show?
Oh, just to show the BDIU thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks. That's what holidays do. They put you behind the 8 ball, I guess you'd say. Which, I'm surprised they've not deemed that game as offensive or racial either, because, the black ball has to follow the white ball.
Right. Yep. Trying to get Bill that or Tim that link. I guess if you're using a cell phone, you have to have the meeting ID and.
I know. I think I've seen Rock ask for that a time or two.
Right.
And of course, I don't use my cell phone for this stuff because it is more complicated.
Yep.
How's the little one, Sean? I shouldn't call him little.
Hey, this guy's big, man. He's about big as Angel now. Thanks for asking. He's a big guy.
Can you take Pops yet?
He thinks. That's what he thinks. But the answer is no. No, the answer is
not for a while, huh?
Not for a while, yeah. Okay, let me give Bill what he needs. I'll tell him what he needs.
How's Angel enjoying Maryland?
Yep, having a good time. Going to the gym. Got to study in A+ right now, which is a certification that really
Yeah, congratulations on your opportunities.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I've got a cousin that lives up there in Maryland, I believe on the outskirts of Montgomery County.
Okay. Okay. Oh, is that right? Yeah, Montgomery
Yes,
County. That's a nice location.
which I happen to live in Montgomery County.
There you go.
It-
What a
it-
coincidence.
Small world, huh?
That's right. I think Josh or Abel's trying to get on. Um, yeah. Any new Hodge twin clips worth mentioning?
Well, I watched them the one you sent out in that group chat.
Right.
It was funny. They were talking about the next time somebody's calling Uncle Tom, just remember to thank them because Uncle Tom ends up freeing the slaves. So they're using it as
Right.
a way to demean them. But I've never read the book myself, but people use that as kind of like derogatory.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure, unfortunately, you've been called that a time or two.
Who, me?
Probably
No.
not to your face, but
Hey, better not say it to my They know better, Bill.
you got your Bronx card in the back pocket, huh?
Brooklyn too, Brooklyn. Oh, look at
There's
me.
Abel.
Fernandez.
What it do? What it do?
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Oh,
Glad you got back to the West Coast or the
hey, look at
Pacific
that.
Coast.
But I still got it.
Hey, it looks like you got a little shorter there. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, glad you're safe, Abel.
Trying to get this code to Tim right now. So the meeting ID 838-7708. 838-7708. 3284. 3284. Meeting ID. Passcode. It's going to be 815466. Eight 15466. Okay, so I just shot Tim the meeting ID and the passcode. Hopefully he'll come on board. Hey, Brothers Rolling Unity Show, number 15. An honor and a privilege to have you with us, Billy Ray. You're a regular, Abel. You're a regular now. You're one of the regular, members of the Brothers Dwelling Unity. I see you didn't waste no time growing that stash back, brother.
Bro. Hey, well, I'm glad of my proud of my Mexican heritage, brother, because that quick.
That's right. That's right. All right. So we got somebody entering the room. I'm not quite sure who it is, but we're gonna find out. Oh,
Tim.
there's a man, Tim Cooper. We got it. All right. So let me call Mendez and find out what's going on. I know this is kind of off the regular schedule.
What's up, Tim? You're muted.
Hey, Francisco, what up, man? What's going on, Francisco?
30.
Hey, Bill.
What's up?
Would you do us the honor of reading Psalm 133?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, man. Gentlemen, we're going to read Psalm 133, the brothers dwelling in unity motto, right?
Behold, how great and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore.
Amen. Amen. All right, gentlemen. Yeah, what we do, real simple here, right? We're just here, a couple of believers who, want to get together on a weekly basis as the Lord allows and permits, and discuss the things of God, discuss current events, things that are taking place throughout, the country and the world. A very unique time that we live in, where we're seeing a lot taking place, right? Especially as it pertains to Christian principle and prophecy.
Yes, sir.
And is it applicable to our daily lives? I believe wholeheartedly that's the case. Yeah, what the things that we discuss, they're not just for entertainment purposes. Another perspective that we bring to the table is that a lot of us have served the country and are serving the country in some form or capacity, and we're all patriots, right? We all love our country, so that's another aspect to what we do. And we always want to honor the legacy and the memory of those that have served before us and those that are currently serving. And we'll do that on the show. So there's a veteran aspect, but there's also the Christian, aspect. And we talk a little politics right now because, that's what's hot and heavy. That is the elephant in the room, this election. But again, everything we do, we want to do it to God's glory and to the edification of the saints. That is our sincere prayer. And to that end, we will operate. I don't think anybody has an objection along those lines. If you do, tough. You can't whoop me. So, hey.
Hey, and don't forget, today is Pearl Harbor. 12/7.
Oh, is it the anniversary?
Yes, sir. Maybe there was a reason why it was pushed back so we could honor this day.
Gotcha. I guess as our good brother in arms in the Lord Abel pointed out, I think we should do a round robin, check in and see how everybody's doing. We got 4 on right now. Just talked with Francisco Mendez. He's going to be joining us very soon, about 5 minutes or so. But I'll start off with myself. I'm in Maryland right now. I bounce back and forth from Maryland to Georgia. Got my daughter with me, Angel, 18 years old, for about 2 weeks, enjoying that. In the process of moving out of this location, right, to another location, changing jobs also, right? Start another job on the 21st of December, to God's glory, right?
Amen.
I reference those opportunities, Bill, that you brought up earlier, right? And I'm never worried because we know God is the one that provides and, puts food on the table. And, he says in his word, I've been young and I'm now old, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread. So, we know God cares for us. The very hairs of our head are numbered, and, we are worth more than many sparrows, right? And a sparrow, 2 of them can be sold for a farthing or a penny, right? But we're worth much more to God and in the eyes of God. So, we know the one who holds the future. We may not know the future, but, God has brought us this far, and he hasn't, brought us this far to abandon us now. That's the train of thought. Again, that's what I got going on. I'm really anticipating the outcome of the election, but regardless of who wins, though, we know, again, God's still in control. So let's keep things in perspective, right? And we like to have fun with it. And, And, the banter is entertaining, but, God is the one that raises up leaders and disposes of kingdoms. And that hasn't changed over the course of the world's history, right? So all the way up
that
to 2020. Who wants to go next? We went clockwise. We're going clockwise.
Yeah, I tell you, I'll take it.
You'll take it.
I tell
that would be counterclockwise, Tim.
All right. It's
But if you want to do that.
Well, not much changes here. I live a pretty simple life. Most Tennesseans do, but we are here anticipating the results of the election. But we're not in a hurry because there's a process. We have to do this right. If we're not patient, we could lose our country. We lose our freedoms, and there's a lot of stake right now.
That's right.
And hey, this real quick, since Tim's on the show, do y'all remember that TV show Hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Yeah. Come on, of course. I got that on my
So Mr. Cooper's next, I assume.
I don't know if I'm counting next one in the clockwise or not, because I can't tell, because I can't see everybody's video, but that's all good. Let's see. Tim Cooper coming at you live from Calhoun, Georgia. What? It's been a very interesting last couple of weeks. If you've been following my Facebook, you notice I just did an 18-mile walk to finish off a journey of 601 miles with a group called Buddy Watch Walk that brings in awareness for a veteran suicide. I'm going to tell you, I thought the devil played a trick on me. I left my shoes at home, went to Walmart, got a cheap pair of shoes. That thing didn't have a sole in it. I promise you, I felt every little nook and cranny. And I was sucking. I was hating life. But, some things I went through in the past, it always talks about struggling well. And there was a lady there that was, she could have been 110 pounds, but she walked all 18 miles in full firefighter suit with air tank, mask, and all. And she was sucking, but she didn't complain not one time. So just like to remind everybody out there, struggle well, my brothers. So.
Yeah, that's a phrase I've heard Brother Abel use on occasion, if I'm not mistaken. And having to do with veterans, right? And
yeah, me and him went through the same program. So, and that's one of the sayings they have. So.
Gotcha. Appreciate it, Tim. Welcome to the show. Looking forward to hearing your God-given perspectives. Likewise, Bill. Always.
I appreciate it. Abel's next.
There he is.
Brother Abel, what's going on?
So let's see what's going on with me. Well, as you guys all know, I had to go back down to Fort Irwin to settle some administrative issues that I had pending with the Army 15 years later. Thank you for all your prayers and support during that time. I was able to go down there, took care of it. I'm proud and happy to say that my DD-214 is in hand now officially. So I got now appointment set up finally with the VA, even though I was in the VA partially. I mean, that's a whole other administrative stuff. But now I got those appointments set up. But as Tim was talking about struggling well, man, there's literally a shift that happens in your brain when you go from one side to the next. And after I came back from Warrior Path, that's what led me to connect with all of you guys, especially those Spartans, And so part of this story has been, readdressing those things of uncertainty. And one of them was the Army. And so I'm just grateful for God's patience with me. I'm grateful for God's blessing and the people He's put in my life. I know it literally does take more than one individual sometimes to speak encouragement into you. So every day I'm getting after it. Right now, before getting on this call, I didn't wake up early enough to go for a run. And I know that that's part of my mental well-being. So I went and knocked out 5 miles before getting on here. So, hey, struggling well, buddy. So but I'm here, man.
Yeah, we're glad you're here, Abel.
Yeah, me too.
Amen. Hey, I knocked out 1 mile. Abel's disgusted. Tim and Abel are disgusted. Hey,
Blocking it about killed me.
I hear you, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, fellas. I draw inspiration, as do the rest of our brothers, from watching the others that are more active. And it's nothing like being in shape and having your faculties about you, right? You gotta be sharp too. You gotta it helps keep the mind sharp, right? There's a correlation, especially if you're gonna be on this show.
And I like to remind people, it's not like I tell my sister, it's not about losing weight for me or being in shape. Like, that's all byproducts, man. If it comes, it comes. Really, it's for me, it's the mental state, man. I know it helps me be level-headed. There's one of these things that we talked about at Warrior Path, that we have all these ups and downs, and before going there, they were really drastic for me, man. You were really high, really low, no consistency. And so for me, running, that's what it does. But if you think about it, back when we were soldiers, man, back on the line, I mean, there's something good that felt about just getting down and knocking that out first part of the day. And so
I agree wholeheartedly. That's right.
Now Bush was always right behind me, but it's okay.
I got a longer stride, they didn't translate to a faster run time, unfortunately. I was an inch short and a yard yard long, I guess.
What's the agenda, players?
Yeah, so we just read the Psalm 133. Haven't heard from Jack. Anybody heard from Jackson Pierre?
No, not since Thanksgiving.
Okay, we got to touch base and make sure he's doing okay.
I know you. Last time I talked to him, he was up there with Bronson.
Yep.
Is he in Maryland?
Brenton's in Maryland. Yep. Brenton is in Maryland. I think he was supposed to be heading out somewhere after that. So again, hopefully he's doing okay, and we'll check in on him. I got his number. I'll give him a call. But again, hey, the elections, right? That's hot and heavy right now.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of activity taking place in the chat rooms. A lot of a lot of Trump supporters, a lot of Biden support. A lot of good points on both sides. I don't think Biden has reached the required 270 electoral votes as of yet. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
No, he's not. Neither man has, and it's not going to be a.
Wait, has it gone down? I know he was at 260 at some point, right?
What's that now?
I know he had 260 something at some point, right? But did that go down?
With the states that are in question,
he lost some electoral votes.
Yeah, they've not actually officially certified them yet. And even with the certifications, that can always be done. It's just a formality. Nothing's official until January 20th, actually. And that's the interesting part of all this. We could see something that we haven't possibly seen in our lifetimes.
Gotcha.
I mean, even when the electors meet on the 14th, if neither man has 270, if both have 269 or whatever it may be, well, we're going to have a president, but it's going to go through the legislature or the legislature process. The Constitution grants the state legislatures to vote, and Republicans have 26, Democrats have 23, I believe the number is.
Gotcha.
So it's going to get interesting. There's one independent in there, and you have to have 26 or 25. You have to have a majority, and we have 26. So you figure all of them vote Trump. But now we'll see how the process goes, because nothing's been ordinary yet.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And, people are bad mouthing the process, particularly on the left side. But what about in 2000 when Al Gore and Bush went through this? They were all for the process to play out because Al Gore had something to gain from it. Now, now that the Republicans got something to gain from it, they're all about dismissing the process.
Right.
So it's going to be
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. You know, stop being a crybaby. I've heard that a couple of times, right? Just go ahead and concede. Don't be a sore loser, right?
Well, you
I
know,
see
But we know.
proposed Biden's calling for unity, or his supporters are behind him.
mhm.
Is that same unity going to be afforded if this gets overturned in favor of Trump?
Well, it wasn't afforded to us the past 3.5 years.
No.
I mean, it was one investigation after another. And I tell you, there's more paths to victory for Trump than there are Biden.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm assuming we got 3 Trumpsters.
Well, it looks that way. And I see 2 Abels up here. I only see one
Abel.
picture. Do you see that?
hey, boy, you trying to, give the impression that there's more than just one Biden supporter here? Is that what's going on, my brother?
Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, player. I'm not a Trump supporter. I got to make that clear. Love me or hate me, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. I didn't say I'm 100% sold on Biden, because I'm not. I know there's issues there. I think, at least, but again, this is just opinion. I don't know him personally, so it is what it is. Cocktails.
I tell you, I think, the fact that Kamala Harris has not retired or put her resignation in for her Senate seat out in California tells you that there's a plan B for her. She's not.
I think you should always have a plan B, though, Billy. Doesn't matter how sure you are, right?
Well, even with Barack Obama, he resigned right after Thanksgiving his Senate seat. So, if she was so sure, if it was straight up and down, on the up and up, she would have already resigned. But she knows that what they're selling in the media is not true.
That's a hard claim, Billy. That's a hard claim. Just because someone doesn't resign after Thanksgiving like Obama, it's hard to say because of that equals this. We don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Obviously, this election, we all know, and we can all agree that it's been very different from previous ones, right? There's a lot going on. There's stuff we haven't seen before. So it'd be hard for me to compare one thing to the other and just, put them on the same ground. I mean, it's a tough claim for me.
For me, I think no matter who gets voted in, whatever, we all just need to pray for the best out of it, no matter who's in there, and to hope that they keep the interests of us, the citizens, at forefront. Am I a Trump supporter? I probably lean more his way than Biden, but I'll say this. I had this discussion with a diehard Democrat. They're just bash is all I heard. And I said, now, wait a minute. I didn't agree with Obama 100%, but he did some good for the country. And I think you can find some good in every president, whether you agreed with him or not, somewhere.
Yeah, I agree.
I might not agree with Biden, but I hope there's some good there somewhere, and I'm sure there will be. So,
yeah, and I think that's, again, that is, like, as we know, Tim, it goes to the concept of responding versus reacting, right? Like, it's really easy to get so caught up on the emotional side of things instead of just stepping back and be like, man, they're still going for the position of leading this country, and I'd like to have some level of trust, at least start off like that. Because if everybody looked at me and judged me based on my past, man, I'd have a very hard life,
Oh, yeah. I think I could be said for a bunch of us. So,
all
Amen.
of us.
Amen. And so, yeah, I'd like to think the same thing. They'd have some positive, they're going to want something positive, do something positive. But again, we can't agree with everyone. It's tough, man. And I'll tell you what, man, I said this earlier. I said, like, people that know me should know that the things that I agree on Trump on, or at least on, I should say on the Republican side, is the fact are my values when it comes to my faith, the matters that kind of mingle with that. The things that I will disagree on are things that I just have life experiences on, that are just going to be different, you know, and I think that's okay. So, what's up with Mendez? He coming in sore loser.
Indeed.
$40 short, but good to go.
Mendy, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Now I'm fine. You know, I just like logging in, and just the first thing that I hear is Abel talking about Trump and values and stuff. I saw he see the light.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go. Hey, Trump 2020, buddy.
Hey, now you're gonna have to get Chris on the ball there to make that into a clip. Hey, now, hey, Mendy, did your guy win that fight?
Oh, hell no.
No. See, I do not know this stuff.
A for effort.
Yeah, no, but I give him this much. He went through the whole 8 rounds with it. He sustained the pain on it, so that's good. I think there being talk of him actually fighting that guy Jake Paul.
You got to give him credit. Any man that steps in that ring to square down, especially with millions of people watching, mad respect.
Yeah, you know. So I mean, we're proud of him. You know, he's making the Cav look good, get up there, making the infantry guys, the military over representing. So he's up there. All right, he keeps going and trucking. We're very proud of what he's doing.
Now, I was just reading this. Maybe I read wrong. Who is Floyd Mayweather stepping back in the ring?
Yeah, against Jake Paul, according to social media.
Yeah, that's what I read. Yeah.
It's a money grab. You know that.
Yeah, anything with Mayweather is money.
Yeah, he's gonna be on that card too, so it's gonna be interesting. Right now, it's being worked on my our boy the Beast being on that card. So on it, we had a great fight this weekend. Also, Danny Garcia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was a good one too. You know, but next week though, we got the Canelo coming up this weekend, so we gotta go.
Let's go.
Now, what about Manny Pacquiao? Isn't he coming back?
Yes, he's actually talking about that kid that fought with Danny Garcia. What's his name? Your boy there, Abel?
Danny Garcia, you're talking about who?
No, he fought who's the guy that fought Danny?
Yeah,
huh?
Aerospace.
Yeah, he's actually right now. It looks like Pacquiao want to fight him.
Yeah,
I'd like to see Pacquiao get back in there with Mayweather. I don't think Mayweather's going to do that.
That ship has come and gone, man, multiple times. That's too late. These guys are now just trying to make money.
Mm-hmm. And we just trying to enjoy the fights. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know anything about this stuff anymore.
Don't worry about it. Just whenever it says plus or minus, whatever number feels right, that's where you put your money into, like I did. You know what I mean? Somebody comes and texts you and keeps like, so you're so sure about it, it's double the bet. Double the bet. Hey, just go in. You know what I mean? But I always go with my guts on it. So, you know, I always like going for the underdog. I always like betting on the people who people less expect. I lose most of the time, but when I do win, it's going to be a big win.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you on this one, but, you know, Garcia, I just can't, you know, I had to go against. His dad rubs me wrong, man. I like Garcia. I don't like his dad.
I know. I'm in the same boat on it. And plus, though, the other kid, he had a good story comeback. You know what I mean? He had that comeback story. And I'm glad that he actually pulled through and he was able to demonstrate it after the accident. He was standing tall, looking good, you know, ready for everything, defending his belts. But, you know what I mean? And I know Danny, that was his good. There's a guy named out of New Jersey called Popeye. You look him up. I got him on my Facebook too. This kid is he's actually another good defender coming up. So I like looking at the young ones, you know, trying to get him.
Where's he from? New Jersey, you said?
Jersey, yeah.
Does he eat
Popeyes
chicken or spinach?
Spanish.
Did you get to see the documentary on Macho and Showtime? Mendes?
No, I didn't get to see it. No.
I think they did a disservice to him, man. I don't think the documentary was as good as I was expecting. So much more. He's such a good fighter, man. So much history, but it was only 90 minutes long, and I don't know, man. It didn't look too good to me. I feel they could have done better.
I got my job at Disney because of Hector's kid.
Which one?
Hector Camacho Jr. Yeah, we went in high school together. We were actually in the interview. Yeah, we were in an interview together. Guy tells him, "Oh, you named like the fighter." He's like, "Yeah, he's my father." He's like, "Really?" And everybody at the table, "Oh, you guys are higher." I'm like, wow. I'm like, Hector, I need you around me more often, brother.
So you're from Spanish Harlem?
No, I'm from Orlando, Florida.
So you didn't live in New York?
No, only layovers when I fly.
Okay.
Yeah, me here.
Yeah.
I've been in New York once. That was the rudest part of the whole trip. There in New York.
Walking between gates, huh?
Actually, I've been a long flight. I went to Asia and I come back and I went through New York as a layover.
I told you. Mm-hmm.
And I accidentally took the wrong path. So I had to go back through the line again, security.
Yeah.
And I asked the security guards to help me because I didn't want to get lost again. And rather than being helpful, they said, "Read your signs." And I wanted to say, I wanted to say something like, "Did your pro officer get you this job?" But,
yeah, then I wouldn't help you in New York.
Yeah, no. So, and he was black, so I would have been thrown in jail. So,
yeah, that wouldn't help you, brother.
Yeah, so I just bit my tongue there and just went back through it.
Sometimes it's good. It's hard.
Yeah.
I'll get back on in a bit. I got to leave the office, try to get home.
Be careful, Abel.
All right, sounds good.
See you.
All right.
Hey, Tim, what about you? You in sports? Captain's on the.
Not really. You're not gonna find me talking much about sports. I mean, I just don't really invest much into that.
I used to love sports and all this. It got politics involved in it, and I just turned it out.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like boxing, though. There's not too much politics right now. Everything else, it just got too political on it, man. I like I always said, sports should be an outlet. You know what I mean? To disconnect, from reality.
Y'all see Nate Robinson get knocked out? Cold.
First round, was it?
Yeah, I guess he's a YouTube sensation. What's the guy's name?
Jake Paul, something like that.
Well, you know what? I saw that guy, looked him up on YouTube. He's the real deal, man. He's no joke. You don't want to get into a fight with that guy. So, Nate Robinson, he was brave for even stepping in the ring because that guy's throwing bombs.
Yeah, that did. Yeah, that thing was. I feel bad for that poor kid, man. I'm like, man.
Was he a former basketball player?
He's a three-time slam champion.
Rebel flag, by God. No more sports for me. No, I'm playing.
Yeah, NASCAR. That's where it went south.
NASCAR, fast car, Tim.
Took away our flag. I can't watch it.
Yeah, and a black guy ruined it. Sorry, Captain.
Y'all know I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm kind of joking.
Hey, Billy's coming strong in 2021, brother. He's gearing up. He's getting strong, bro.
Hey, I'm still on the Trump train. I'm all good.
Yeah, he's ready. He's after January 20. I would like to see the new Billy, see what's going to happen.
It's all this sparring in the chat room,
Yeah.
Fighter Billy's coming out. And you held your own, brother.
Yeah, he's making it happen. I like that.
Hey, where's Lieutenant DeLeon Harris right now and Dykema? Where those guys at, huh?
Yeah, Dykema never talks.
Hey, they're doing a lot of talking. Let me call DeLeon, see what's going on. We need his energy on the show right now. We need that alternate, viewpoint and perspective.
It could be in the basement with Biden.
I don't know if y'all want to get Dykema on there or not. I'll be his biggest distraction. He'll be swearing that I about killed him, trying to give him an IV or something. I don't know.
Gotcha. So what's the latest and greatest though with these elections? We talked about the president's appearance in Georgia, the vice president, to support I believe the senators, right? If I'm not mistaken. That race is going to be determined on the 5th of January, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Right? I think it's mostly my point. I'll be honest with you. I've disconnected. I want to say for the past almost 2 weeks now, gradually been disconnecting it from the news outlets on that side. But with that being said, though, I have also seen as a lot of people been disconnecting also from it. So I don't know when it comes. I don't know how would it be in Georgia. I'm not down there on the ground, so I don't know.
Right. You know why?
Mhm.
You know why we're disconnecting? Bill, you know why, right?
We're not fighting for Trump.
Because it's fake news.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's going to understand that.
Yeah, no, that's mostly what it is. I got tired of hearing people's personal opinion on the news outlet. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I don't like. I'd rather read something, like I said, I'd rather read an international article or see an international channel and just get a glimpse of what they talk about the election, just to see what is the outlet thinking about on it. I mean, I know I can tell you with my circle where I deal with a lot of Latin American, a lot of people are kind of worried with like I said, within my community and the people that I talk to overseas, is there were a lot of those people who were supporting Trump, and they're kind of nervous how things are going to happen now within Biden itself, which it kind of surprised me, to be honest with you, on that whole aspect. I'm
he already told us he's going to tax us 62%.
He's coming for our guns.
Hey, I got my VA letter, man. I'm good. I didn't touch my tax.
Well, I'll tell you what, I disconnected from news and all that stuff because you just don't know what to believe anymore. But I learned this. If I go in and type in Doug Collins 1 Senate seat on Facebook, that thing will automatically fact check and tell you you're lying. So there you go.
Yep.
Especially a lot of the Facebook, anything that comes political that is on the Republican side, there's a fact check attached to it. I'm about this close right now. I already opened my account with the other Parlor, whatever.
Parlor, yeah.
I'm about to jump ship. I'm about to just leave Facebook business related only. I'm about to take all my stuff out of Facebook, jump ship over there, and call it. I just don't like it to be in a point of view that hey, everybody has their opinion. I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people at the beginning when this thing started, like if you were a Trump supporter, people were disowning you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I love you. Like I don't bring my politics into the face stuff anyway on it. But just seeing how people were reacting on certain things, it kind of surprised me. Even on both sides, even within the Trump supporters and Biden supporters who were too much extreme, either too extreme right or too extreme left on that specific point of view. I think that now people are done with that part. I think they're putting the corona back on the table. That helps a lot. I got a call from Predator and Alien. They're ready to go back on scene. You know what I mean? To be the next disease or whatever. But like I said, I think the next big thing is going to be, I'm looking at the stocks on, I make my money with both companies. I already sold my stocks. My airline stocks are rising up, about to close some of those things out. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at views now of a positive investment side of the house to be able to jump out. But I'm pretty sure comes January, we're going to have another headache. I do not agree with all these lockdowns that are happening around. I have not seen it in my area, but I know in Puerto Rico for a fact. I mean, they're right now, they got 30 days worth. No alcohol from Friday to Monday. That's a big issue. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of places going to different safety modes. Like I said, I think if everybody takes responsibility or their own actions and do the right thing, we should have no issues with it. But we got to see how things are going from here on out.
I saw, if I may jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mendez. I saw something online, and it basically stated that whatever figure you typed in, say if you wanted to check how many cases of corona were within a specific region, whatever you typed in, whether it was 100,000 or 500,000 into that Google browser, there was going to be something that popped up with that exact figure that basically, communicates that that amount that you typed in is what has been found in any area, right? So it's a manipulation of the search engines, right? Who's at the helm? Who's responsible for this? I was on LinkedIn today, and I came across an advertisement video that reference a term, deep fake videos, right? Deep fake videos. Has anybody ever heard of that before?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay.
Sounds like a porn site.
It sounds like deep state though, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It sounds like deep state, right? So basically what it is, it's technology that, allows you to basically, manipulate faces and voices so you can transpose a figure, into a video and have them say something and they never said it.
You know what?
So it's for fake
I've-
videos.
I've heard of this is the next like warfare they're going to use.
AI, artificial
Yeah.
intelligence, and yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm on LinkedIn here. Here's the article right here. Load up.
It's amazing. You know, talking about there in Georgia, and there's Nixon himself.
Right. And I guess there's a lot of this stuff already going on where misinformation is being put out using this technology. We are there. We're there right now, right?
Oh yeah, yes sir.
That's just at the next level. We got with coronavirus and election fraud and voter fraud. Now we got the deep fake misinformation, psychological warfare going on.
So you're saying prepare for Terminator. Gotcha. Check.
Yeah.
Tracking.
More or less. I'm going to share this, matter of fact, to the group.
You know, it's amazing. We're talking about what's really going on here right now. China has been a bad actor for a long time now. And, it's interesting. You should bring a video clip of Richard Nixon up because Richard Nixon is the one who opened America up to China. Without Richard Nixon, who knows where we would be with China.
Thanks, Mr. Nixon.
Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. And then you talk about Iran. It's another bad actor. Jimmy Carter cut off the relationships there with Iran. And the deep state really runs deep. And who's our two bad actors right now? Iran and China, thanks to these two administrations. And the New World Order, it runs real deep. And who benefits from a New World Order? Well, it's not us, not we the people, the swamp politicians, the establishments, which that's on both sides. And that's what I can't get like people like LT Harris to understand that the swamp is on both sides.
Right,
The Republican establishment, they're the ones that have already congratulated Biden. And now Tim brought up something interesting about Doug Collins. I'm surprised Doug Collins didn't fight this because he dropped out there on election night. He was in that three men, him and Loeffler and then Warnock.
Right.
Them three. And I'm not sure why he dropped out. There's been speculation about him and China and big tech. Tucker Carlson, before he went over the dark side, called Doug Collins out, which was interesting because I thought Doug Collins was on the up and up. Right. He's a preacher, good guy, good looking guy, things like that, values. Right. But, that Raphael Warnock, he's supposed to be a preacher as well. And that guy is as radical as can be. And Tim can tell you more about him than I can, I'm sure. But I'm talking about, I don't know what's going on in the state of Georgia right now. I mean, all eyes on
you down there, right, Bush? How things going on the ground?
I am. I'm back and forth in between Georgia and Maryland. I don't keep up with a lot of the local politics. I'll be honest with you. So I can't really speak too much on the state.
This morning there was a petition that was delivered to the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, with 150,000 Georgian signatures. They want them to call a session of the state legislature because there's too much foul play right now.
Right.
And they won't do it. Talking about China in October, $400 million to purchase Dominion, the controlling interest of the company that was in control of our elections.
Right.
I mean, all this is documented. Why would they just suddenly go ahead and purchase controlling interest into a company that's controlling our elections? It is a Canadian company. It's out of Canada, but why would they suddenly just purchase it right before our elections? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, this isn't conspiracy anymore. You know, I get caught. What's that?
Here in Georgia, there's a lot of confusion going on.
Yes,
For
sir.
us to be a red state and flip straight to blue, all
Yeah.
of a sudden, we're all like, how? How is this even possible?
And you know, like in Fulton County, Georgia, right there, where that main had supposed to have broken, there's 109% registration. How does that happen?
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't happen.
There's a example. I had a lady go to register to vote or to go to vote, and when she went to do a little signing thing, they said, "Well, you already voted. You
Yeah.
didn't see the ballot." Well, she said, "No, I didn't." I mean, and that's right here in my hometown. It's craziness.
I've got a friend that they recently, him and his wife recently moved to Georgia over the summer, Ray City, Georgia, and the county is 82% Republican, and they went to vote this time, and they voted. You know, they've got websites you can go on and see how you voted. Well, she did that, and it showed her as not even voting. And there's a lot of foul play right now. People are in denial that this can happen, but when it's out in the open like this, and if you're saying it didn't happen, that's not denial anymore. I mean, that's ignorance.
Well, you know what? Let's speak to the fact that these things happen. This has happened in the history of the United States in the past.
It has. It's just, well, like in the 60s with Kennedy, he had the mob stuff the ballot boxes there in Illinois for him. And this has happened before. I mean, there's reports out now. Bush was using the same type of systems back in 2004 to beat John Kerry, which is kind of hard for me to believe that. Why would you need a system to beat John Kerry? And then Obama was using this same in Florida in 2012 to beat Romney, which again, why would you need a system to beat Romney? And all these things were out in the open. And, you know, Donald Trump was calling this out in 2012. And because, I mean, he's way ahead of the game, even way back when. It's just no one ever fought it before because they're all in the same class together. You know, Romney, Obama, there's not much difference. I voted for Romney, but I can't stand the man. Like McCain,
I got a question here from Susanna Atkinson. She brought to my attention yesterday, Jam. Is it true that if the U.S. is at war with Iran while Trump is in office, wouldn't he still be president regardless of who won in voting?
No, you can still have change of
transition.
president, transition. And there is going to be a peaceful transition. You know, Trump's just going to just wake up the morning of January 20th and he's going to accept it.
Yep.
Well,
And that's going to be.
There's nowhere in the laws or Constitution or anywhere it says that he has to concede.
Right. No, and that's a good point. And I've been studying the Constitution more, and there is the only date that is set in stone. I didn't know this until today. Is January 20th. In fact, the December 14th meeting of the electors and so forth, the vote, that was a federal amendment. It wasn't an amendment. It was a declaration, I believe is what it was called. That was held that was made in 1948. So there's no constitutional basis for any of these dates except January the 20th. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these things play out. Because right now, tomorrow, Pennsylvania is supposed to meet. Alito actually had that moved up a date because, well, tomorrow will be the 8th and then the 9th, the meeting of the electors, and they vote the 14th. So there's a lot of interesting things playing out right now. Like you're talking about in Georgia alone, they want evidence. We've got a video of where these people are telling Republican people to go home. 4 people step, and they go get ballots out of a suitcase. This is interesting. The first day that videotape come out, they had a hearing, and they said, "Well, this tape has been debunked." How can it be debunked when it just got shown?
Right.
So,
yeah, it's ridiculous. The Facebook fact checking, we talked about that earlier, right? Mm-hmm. If there's anything that supports the conservative perspective, by default, it's fact check. It's fact check.
I think after all this stuff that has happened, I think the overall objective, just me outside looking, is putting the doubt into the Democratic Party when they become in office to the system. Because I think what's going to happen now is a lot of people, whether Trump is out, but a lot of people still going to be, even within that pool of people, there's still going to be some people still having that in the back of their head. Is this was correct? Are they really are they really lying? Because there's a lot of stuff that internationally, just with that question that they put out earlier, I mean, we've been talking a lot about local, but really the biggest issue we're going to have is international. What is our international aspect? How we're standing international? We slapped a lot of people in the past 4 years, so that we're not going to do business with you. Now, are we coming forward as the dog between the leg coming back, and you please let me in and play? Or are we coming forward as the strong nature that we are? Like, hey, okay, I'm back in the game. Let's do this thing. So now, how are we going to be able to enter? Exactly.
Everybody can't stand, right?
And I think that's what we're gonna look like for. Like I said, in my little world, my bubble that I'm always around with, Latin America, we have a lot of stuff. We just had the Venezuela election this weekend with Maduro winning again on the whole aspect of Guaido. He's not. A lot of country is taking Guaido as the president of Venezuela, but he's saying I'm only going to stay there to January 5th now because technically I lost the elections in Venezuela now. That stability is on it. The United States, the Department of Justice put a hit out on Maduro and his stuff for narcotics, you know what I mean, for narcos. So right now they're being looked at like we were looking at a guy from Panama before. What was his name? I forgot his name, Guerrera, whatever his name, Noriega. You know what I mean? Like what we did with Noriega. So right now, Maduro's in the same boat as Noriega. What are we gonna do as a international aspect within our region? You know, that's just right next within our hemisphere. Not even looking international, going overseas to the west, to the European area, to the Middle East, and to the Asia. What is our stance gonna be with Biden, or with him on board? How are we going to look at the international side, and are we going to get bullied around? And how is our national security posture is going to be looked like at an international level? And I mean, that's the type of question that I want to see, that them talking about how are we going to develop, because that's what's really going to jeopardize us on whatever we're going to do locally. Because at the end of the day, like I told you guys before, what matters for our local government is our states. You know, who are we putting in charge within our states? You know, we're putting the right senators and the right congressmen here within our own footprint, because at the end of the day, the president's his biggest issue is going to be overseas. You know what I'm trying to say? So we got to see where things will go from there.
I'm willing to bet if Biden wins, we're going to get pushed over.
We'll go back to what we were before Trump.
We're going to be bowing down and kissing butts, have some kind of relation. That's my predicament or prediction. I don't know.
Let me ask you, is there any legitimacy or validity to the idea that Kamala Harris will supersede Mr. Biden and take things in a direction? A lot of people don't believe that Biden has the backbone or the mental capacity to lead this nation.
She'll take over 90 days after.
Exactly. I'm about to say, I mean, even if she's not in power, she's going to be the most outspoken person within the White House. Gotcha. You know what I mean? And that's what I would see it more looking at.
Let's say hello to Lieutenant Dave Dykema, Lieutenant Colonel Dave Dykema.
I'm about to say, you demoted him earlier, man. I'm like, man.
Salute to yourself. Thanks for joining us on a Brothers Dwelling Unity show. You know you're a big Donald Trump supporter, so.
Oh, well, welcome.
I'm not going to say that. I hate Trump.
That's a strong
I
word.
like where he's taking this. Well, I dislike the man. If he did what he did without talking or without tweeting, there'd be very little to complain about him. But because he tweets and he talks, you can't defend him. I can argue all day long that I feel we're in a better place, and we're in a much better place than we were 4 years ago. But I can't refute the people that can't stand him and I can't refute the people that hate him. It's
Yeah.
and it's not an Obama versus Trump thing. Like I don't. Everybody says if I like Trump, I must hate Obama. I just like the Obama years, and I hated getting yelled at or felt like I was getting yelled at when he talked. But now I'm indifferent, but I'm definitely against Allah, and she scares me. And I'm definitely against Biden because I think
Right.
he's just as bad as Obama was. So I'm not going to say I'm a Trump supporter. I'll say I voted for him, but that's because the alternate was almost as bad as Hillary.
Well, that's how I feel about the times I voted before Trump. Bush, all you had was Kerry. Obama, I couldn't vote for him. There was no way I was going to vote for him. You know, I didn't like McCain. I know y'all probably feel different about McCain, but McCain was no war hero. And he was, I mean, you look at his record where he stood, he was the same as Obama. Romney the same way, Hillary. And we didn't know what we were going to get from Trump, but it was one of those things. A lot of people are ABC, anybody but Clinton. Now, I will say this. I love Trump's tweetings because he's got a tweet. He won't get fair coverage any other way. He won't get his message out. And they've done studies on this. 90% of the airtime that he gets is negative. A lot of it's made up.
Yep, good
Yeah,
point.
but his tweets don't help his case. If anything, it digs him deeper.
Yeah.
So there's some tweets that he needs to send. I'm all for that. But that's why you give your PR reps control of your Twitter account. You don't make it yours. And then they could have a White House Twitter page and they could put out his messaging, but he doesn't win any friends. Like, granted, we like him because he doesn't win friends, but at the same time.
Well, you know what?
That's
The American people voted him in office in 2016. I want to say that one of the strong points is that he did have that connection with the populace, right?
Yeah, I can only speak for me. I can't speak for the whole Trump nation, all 80 million of us. But I can tell you this. We love Trump because he's a breath of fresh air. He's not one of these, just go along with the crowd politicians. He speaks his mind, and love him or hate him, that's how he feels. That's what he says.
Hate it or love it, Trump's on top.
It used to be love it or leave it.
Hey, all I'm saying is whoever got out of the military now with Trump and got his signature is going to be worth some money about 20 years from now.
I can agree with is it Lieutenant Colonel document now? Woo!
Yeah, right. Things going. Hey, Trump eras, man. I'm telling you.
I can see what you're saying. Like I said earlier, you got to see the good as in all bad situations. Whether every president's going to have some good qualities and bad qualities. Yeah, President Trump's tweeting and some things he said might not be the best thing a president could say, but that's what you get when you're not a politician.
Right.
He's doing and saying whatever he wants to. So, but I can see your point there.
No, but it seems like everybody who doesn't like Donald Trump, you ask them why they don't like Donald Trump, right? And I'm not pointing any fingers or picking on anybody in particular, but I can't stand his personality, and he's such a jack.
You froze again?
Jackhole, and he comes across. But when you look at the job that he's done over the last 4 years, I don't think there's any debate that it wasn't a bad job.
No, it was a great job. I mean, just look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. And I mean, he's got the lowest unemployment for all race groups pre-COVID. Now, COVID, talk about China again, come from China. The Obama administration gave $3.7 million to the same laboratory in which the virus came out of. That's not conspiracy. Look it up. Now, does that look suspicious? In 2017, Fauci says that Donald Trump's going to face some kind of pandemic. How does he know that unless he's creating it? I mean, you just connect the dots here. And China was in with COVID for this very reason, the 2020 election, as a way to get him out, as a way to again run over America. You know, we were in such debt when Trump come in, and Trump strangled the Chinese economy. And I tell you, say what you want about his tweetings, or I've heard other people say, a lot of people have said that, in fact, that it's unprofessional and so forth. But
Right.
Obama tweeted. Obama was on Twitter. I mean, why was it then okay, acceptable, and it's not okay for Trump? And now, I tell you, Trump does things like we do. You know, he eats fast food. What president does that? And I mean, just, you know, he's a blue collar billionaire. That's what his son explains him as. And, you know, Reagan asked, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And we can ask that question and say, yes. And I said 80 million Trump supporters because they've got the server that was seized in Germany. It was not a CIA operation, because when we seized the server in Germany, it actually turned out to be a CIA operation, which meant, or the CIA server, which meant the CIA was involved with it. So they were working with foreign enemies to intervene in our elections.
Mm.
And we've got all this, we've got all the server, we got the data from the server, which shows Trump had at least 80 million votes.
Let's talk about that CIA treason, like activity that has long existed within the country. I know going back to John F. Kennedy, you know, he had an issue with the CIA. He wanted to break it up. I heard you mention that a number of times. Bill, would you care to expound upon that, my brother in the Lord at arms?
Yeah, the CIA has always been compromised. It's always been all about evil, really. It's not about getting intelligence to work on us, to help us. It's about, like in Afghanistan, for example, it's about funding other operations, illegal operations that our government does. You know, we invade countries, and no disrespect to any of you, because y'all are just following orders.
Right.
It's the upper heads that control it. The CIA has always been dirty. Kennedy knew this. And once he said that he wants to splinter it into 1,000 pieces, they got rid of them.
Well, let's look at the missions of a lot of the government agencies, right? You know, the Department of Defense, we know that the main mission of that agency is to defend the nation, right? That's the sole focus, America first, right? And we would hope that the other agencies, they have the same, I guess, outline as far as, directives that they follow. But, again, may not be the case, right? Depending on what's going on in that agency. With the CIA, FBI, a lot of spy activity, right? A lot of intelligence officers. There's spies that are coming over from other countries, and they're trying to obtain employment working, for the agency. I've met people who have communicated that they were, agents for other countries that have, worked in government agencies. Now, so this stuff happens all the time, right? Depending on how high they go up, right? We may start to feel that influence.
You remember about a year ago when it was learned that Dianne Feinstein had a driver that was a Chinese spy?
Gotcha.
General Mattis, who just, was fired from the Trump administration, forgot to inform the administration that he had ties to China.
Yep.
I mean, all these things go deep, and the same bad actors have always been bad. I mean, you look at the end of World War I, Germany took the fall for that because Germany was at fault for much of the bad actions that went on. Adolf Hitler didn't like the idea that they were taking the blame for it, so he rises to power. He did it the same way as some of our leaders did. They come on as nice, loving people. That little picture of the baby Christ.
Right.
Yeah, Adolf Hitler, and then he comes to power. And then what happens? He does bring Germany back to superpower, back to stardom, but at what cost? And I mean, you're seeing Germany, the server that we seized in Frankfurt, Germany, was the city in which Merkel told Trump to concede, just the day after the election. And see, and it's just, these things they go too deep to ignore anymore.
I'm with you. So, we're coming up on the 20th of January, right? That's the no later than date. I think December 14th is another hard target, if I'm not mistaken, right? As far as important dates.
Well, that's when the electors vote. But if no man has 270, then, well, it continues. The process continues, and right now, I'm not sure that either one of them have it.
Right.
Because right now, as we're talking, the state legislatures in Arizona and Pennsylvania have called emergency meetings because all these hearings that Trump and Giuliani, they're bringing forth evidence, hard evidence, sworn affidavits. That's a piece of evidence. Giuliani's got over 5,000 of them, and you saw what happened in Georgia. And Brian Kemp, for some reason, will not call a special meeting in the state legislature, and I wonder why. And it just, and see, go back to China. Brian
That's
Kemp.
Timmy. Timmy's there. Timmy, what are they doing in Calhoun?
Not a daggum thing. It's too cold.
Too cold.
Yeah, we hibernating for the winter. We'll see y'all in summer.
Well, I seen where the Arizona House of Representatives left for the week because of COVID-19.
I mean, that's the new thing. COVID's going to continue to be the trump card. You know what I'm saying? On anything here when it comes to it. And I think either Big Annie should come out soon, or I don't know how this is going to go, or even though with this, are they spilling more information for more Democrats to go out and vote, which I don't think. Democrats are not really known to go out there and vote for the state a lot. They never had that big turnout, no matter what state we look at. You know what I'm saying? So I think we should have the advantage when it comes to the Senate, and when it comes to the Senate House. I think there has to be a balance of power if there's a new family going into the House. There has to be a balance of power, and I think with the Senate keeping it at least on the red side, it should be an interesting 4 years.
It's going to be an interesting month. Not to even considering the next 4 years. And there's going to be a lot that's riding on these next few weeks because, let's just say if Biden does get in office, so much is going to change. You're talking about, I know the media's talked about a civil war under Trump, but he didn't create new wars. He actually ended wars, bringing troops back home. The narrative was he was always going to start a war with North Korea or another place. It would have happened if a Democrat had gotten in because they love to be at war, not just Republicans, but Democrats too. And that's why a lot of these generals hate Trump, is because y'all can attest to this. Y'all can confirm this. That a lot of generals always want to be at war because, well, they got those nice, soft, comfortable positions.
They want to make a name for themselves, right?
Oh, absolutely. Keep
it
going.
General Patton.
What do you think about that, Lieutenant Colonel? Let's hear your perspective on that comment.
Yeah, I would like to see. No, definitely, that's a good point. As the high echelon within the dark side, you know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't say that we want to be at war. We want to be prepared. And so the military will continue to prepare, and we're doing our best ever that I've seen, changing our doctrine, changing what we need, going with modernization and going after peer, being ready for the next peer fight, which we've vacated for almost 20 years. So I think we are in the right place. I think we're going there, and we're finally spending money on what we need to get our army right and our doctrine changed to where we can comprehend if we did do a pure fight. So,
Lieutenant Colonel Dykema, now you stated peer fight. Is that the new term for high intensity combat?
no, near peer is what multi-domain operations is all about, near peer. So dealing with China, dealing with Russia, they are peers, Or
Right.
as close to peers as we can have.
So you're not necessarily referring to force on force, the Hick fight that, was in place before GWAT came and became the urban ops became the prevalent way of doing business. You're talking about just from a not administratively, but geopolitical perspective as far as the fight.
Well, it's just being prepared. The best deterrent is being prepared. And if one of them has, say, a better fighter, a better bomber, a better warship, that tips the tails or keeps the deterrent not there.
Right.
If we're definitely the powerhouse,
Here's superiority.
we're in the compete phase. So we're going to compete. But during the compete or competition, this is where you prevent wars by being prepared and being trained and having the best equipment. And then with that, we can ensure that there is less conflict, but through these proxies and through, Russia's been doing it for a decade now and just trying to beg us to do something. So we're going to continue to prepare, but we're actually doing that right now. And with multi-domain operations, we're changing our doctrine to kind of comprehend that there's more to it than just air, land, sea battle. There's space, there's cyber, and everything else.
Lieutenant Colonel Dykeman, thank you for joining us again and providing us with these invaluable insights. I was just getting ready to ask you about that. Before you got on, I showed an advertisement, something referred to as deep faking. Have you ever heard of that term before? Let me see if I can pull it up so I'm not butchering the name here.
You say deep face?
The deep fake. And it has to do with basically doctoring video, making it appear that individuals are saying one thing. And we can do this because everything is, digital these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer filmed. It goes right from the camera, to the uploaded into the cloud, and people can manipulate that. So you can have a whole message that appears to be genuine and authentic, but it's not the case. And before you know it, that has had its intended effect. So that's the type of stuff. That's the next level of warfare, and I believe it's referred to as deep fake. There's something that's going on along with the cybersecurity fight.
Sounds like a movie, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's called Eagle Eye. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But it goes kind of what we were saying earlier. Is like, I think the objective of discrediting the media outlets has been achieved. You know what I mean? And I think the Lieutenant Colonel is being hacked right now. He's having different colors coming up on the screen.
Okay, I see that too. Yeah.
I'm actually in Russia right now.
Okay.
Oh, in Russia. Okay.
Here's the video right here with Nixon starring, right?
Put the link on the chat board.
Yo, you know what? There you go. See, that's what Mendez. That's why you're here, man.
That's yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. But on that part, and I think the Colonel's right on that aspect on it. He's I don't think I know. He's a colonel. That's why he's a colonel. You know what I'm saying? But no, overall, it's like I'm pretty sure what we were talking earlier. What is going to be our posture to the international world? You know what I mean? And I think the military is going to be a very big flex on where we standing, no matter who's in office. You know what I mean? And I think he hit it right on the money. We've been getting taunted to get into something, and we've been able to diplomat our way out of any type of conflicts by osmotic tactics. What I mean by that, instead of using military boots on ground, utilizing different strategies to still make the objective continue. So I think there's going to be kind of interesting now with how Trump was gearing the nation to going to see how the next party will come and try to either adjust to it or try to fix some stuff. I'm kind of curious to see how what's going to happen there, because it's going to be interesting.
when I look at these world leaders, the ones who are for Biden, the one that have called and congratulated him and have told Trump to step aside, they're all the ones who hated Trump from the moment he stepped into office. Even Netanyahu, I was surprised by. The only one that hasn't called him, well, one of a few is Dave. Dave's there with Putin. Tell Putin I said hi. And but I mean, Putin hasn't called and congratulated him. Mendez was talking about something earlier, talking about Vegas not paying off or paying off quickly. Vegas hasn't paid off on all this stuff yet, because they understand that if Biden has been declared the winner through the media only.
Right.
If it is actually given to Trump, they'd have to pay out twice, because they know there's a real possibility in that. And the fact that we talked about earlier, Kamala Harris has not resigned from her Senate seat, which typically happens very quickly during a transition. That tells you that there's something more than what we're being told.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you this. Let me raise a new question. What happens to the media after this? Regardless of if Trump wins or if Biden is transitioned over.
From what I've seen, a lot of people that I know used to watch Fox News has already deviated away from them and is watching other forces. So,
no, I agree. And me, I had to turn Fox off because their weekend crew is much better than their regular crew, and they have really turned a 180 real quick. I mean, since election day, it was very bad. It was so obvious what was going on. The media has been wrong for this man for 4 years, and they have sold us a lie after a lie. Even when they're faced with evidence of lies, they keep digging themselves into a bigger hole. Dave was talking about how Trump keeps adding to the hole that he's in by tweeting. The media has done this for 4 years, 3.5 years.
Right.
And I think the media didn't dealt themselves a good hand on this, because my point of view on this is they have been discredited. I mean, all across the board, all news outlets been discredited.
Yes, sir.
And I think what's going to happen now, something new will come out to be the new foundation of news providing to the public, and that's going to be very interesting. What's going to go as we transitioning over to this whole new. I want to say this whole new scenario, because, like I said, we have just started between, like the Colonel was saying, there, space, cyber. All these are new threats that we have now been seeing publicly being known. So us that we've been on, we seen some of this stuff prior when we were serving at a different scale, you know what I mean? But now being publicly, we can see more at a higher level how crucial these types of attacks are going to be. So it's going to be, I just don't know what is going to be that adjustment. I think that the way that the politicians are projecting is that they're not ready to what is currently happening right now. And I would like to see how we're going to be dealing internationally. Are we going to see ourselves in a conflict in the next 4 years? You know what I mean? Is there a probability higher than before? Most probably. I don't know. But, if we are going to, what is going to be that spectrum is going to look like?
Can I bring up another topic real quick?
Yes, sir. Please.
So, I know there's been a lot of talk about if Biden gets in, we might as well be a socialist country at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend on Facebook pose that question. What's the reason for quote unquote socialism, or what's everybody's viewpoints on that? And I'm going to read you one of the responses, and I want to get y'all's opinion on this, because I mean, it made me stop and think for a minute. It really did, which don't take much to shocking on me, Let's see here. Here it is.
Tim, I remember you as a very astute infantryman.
There you go. And he starts off with, it says, any program where money is taken from everybody to pay directly for things which only go to the ones, quote unquote, the government decides needs it the most, that's a social program, is a piece of socialism. if you add too much, then people start screaming socialism. But as long as you don't cross that imaginary line, it's not a socialist program at that point. And he gave us a couple examples. France, what makes France socialist? They just do a lot more than we do. They give a lot more free programs and stuff out to their citizens or whatever. The UK is not socialist, but one can argue they also do a lot of stuff, just as not as much as France. So basically, like there's a baseline out there, that a fine line that draws, are we socialist or not socialist? But I mean, that made me start to think, do we have socialist programs or socialism programs already out there? And what is that fine line that makes it to where we go to straight socialism?
Well, we have social programs. I mean, we have federal wise, we do have it with Social Security. We have it with the welfare. Those are socialist type of program. We are a nation that do both on it. I'm trying to find the right wording for it. But United States, it is a democratic nation and a socialist, and has a social part to it. And I'm going to look for it real quick before I speak out of term. But I'm pretty sure Billy can jump in and throw some more insight on that one.
We do have some versions of socialism, I guess you'd call. There's different Medicare programs set up to help those in need. And under Roosevelt, we became more, a socialist society. But Lenin himself, the old dictator, explained that the ultimate goal of socialism is communism. On paper, it sounds good. But if you look throughout history, it's never worked, and there's a reason for it, because there's only a few who ever have anything in socialism. And you think about Bernie Sanders, what he calls for. Now that he's a millionaire, now that he's been bought off and got a new house and several cars, he doesn't go after millionaires anymore. He goes after billionaires. He's the richest socialist in this country, at least one of them. And he doesn't want socialism, actually. He just wants to have control over, certain people, because there's only certain people. Look throughout history. It's never worked for a reason. It didn't work in the early 20th century, and it's not worked now. It can't work, because if you give someone too much control over your life, which is what happens in a socialist country, look at Venezuela, for example. And it's important to talk about Venezuela because they just had an election that was using the same system that we were using in our country, and they had their election stolen. And and these things aren't conspiracy anymore. And again, they sound good on paper, but they never work.
The Dominion system.
Yeah, the Dominion system. And it's just a program of families. It's like the scorecard or hammer, which was created by a CIA contractor, Dennis Montgomery, who brought the FBI in 2015, 47 hard drives with millions and millions of pieces of evidence on it. FBI Director James Comey just sat on it. It showed where Obama was using it and so forth. My point is, this stuff is evil, socialism included, because only certain people have anything in socialist countries.
Right. The ones that are in power.
Right. And certain people in the military have something because, well, they have to be part of the, the transition or part of what's going on. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and I know that others disagree, socialism has never worked and it can't work. It sounds good on paper, but once you give someone too much control over your life, look what Hitler did. Again, he sold himself as something that he wasn't. He got control. He got people to give their guns up, their only defense mechanism. And when they did, he come in and you either did what he said or you were done away with.
And I mean, I can see where people are thinking that if we're going to open up the borders, give everybody welfare, it comes over that border, everybody free medical, you're not giving them a purpose to work for that American quote unquote dream of bettering themselves because, hey, I ain't got to do nothing. I get all this free stuff.
That's right.
Right. There's no incentive.
We talked about the Indian reservations in the past where, everything is subsidized. Where's the incentive to go out and, put in an honest day's work for an honest day's wage? It's not there.
You know, I tell you, I think if you took back a lot of those reservations and actually gave them an incentive, you'd see a boom within the. I don't like to call them Native Americans, but
What
within the Indian population.
everybody needs a purpose, right?
Absolutely, and you know, that's a long discussion right there. I mean, you're seeing so. I mean, you're seeing so many problems come from the Indian community. I think Rock was the first one to ever bring it up. And
Right.
you're looking at, you know, the Black community has an out of wedlock rate of over 70%, almost 75%. The highest one though is out of the Indian community, which is over, you know, 3/4 of every birth is.
It's almost as if you don't even hear that the community doesn't even have a voice. I think I saw one commercial at one point where there was something speaking to, you know, Indian rights, and you know, you hardly ever see that though, right? You hardly ever see that. And you know, has the community been silenced? Have they been bought off? You know, with this subsidies? Is that what's going on? You know, I received in my inbox today again an offer for a government grant of some sort. You know, and it's so weird to me because these are real people, supposedly, you know, people that are on my friends list, but you know, with religious affiliation. However, they always seem to, you know, get around to asking me if I've heard about the government program that where you can get $150,000, you know, with no strings or attachments, right, or ties, or $90,000. And I know where they're going. They're trying to, you know, basically buy my compliance. At least that's what it appears. But, you know, what I do and what we do here is not for sale. You know, we're coming.
I think they'd want you to send them money before they'd ever send you that, and you never hear from them again.
Oh, okay. Is that, have you?
I'm pretty well. Yeah, I've actually had friends like you who had their page hacked, and then they message me, and they're asking me, have you heard about this grant, whatever? And it happens a lot, and they say they're in Africa. It happens a lot in Africa. And,
yeah, I've had that happen too. So
yeah, so you know, and it's probably Zuckerberg trying to get the best of us.
Gotcha. Or Zuckerberg. Yeah.
You know,
I wish I Facebook jail, so I'd stay out of it.
Well, he's in a lot of trouble himself. You know, they were finding, I think it was 2018, $5 billion for what they did in 2016, suppressing conservative voices. So unfortunately, this is not anything new. It's just they've stepped their game up.
Right. Darn liberals.
Oh yes, sir. The libtards, as they call them. Not me, but you know, someone else.
Gotcha. I keep getting these notices that I've won money. You know, I won the prize whenever I go to the Hodge Twins website. You know, like, you won. And I'm like, let me get on. I get all excited and I go try to claim my prize, and they want me to sign up for something. And I'm just like, you know, of course. There's no prizes, you know, without signing away your birthright, right?
Did that video you sent, I think it was the one you sent out. Did you see the promotion that they were giving away for Christmas? They were giving 25% off. And
hashtag sellout, right? Somebody has hashtags.
No, okay. Now for white people, it's white privilege. Now for blacks, you're a sellout.
Right. Hashtag sellout for the 10% discount. Right.
Yeah, real quick, going on the question on the socialism, because I think we kind of driven a little bit on that one, and I think that's a good little topic on it. But just as a socialist believer, it's mostly I work, and everything is how you say, whatever I make doesn't really matter. It has no value to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because all it is taking care of others. I don't think our government is, I'm not saying the government, I don't think the people, the majority of the people would adopt that type of of regime or that type of political view on it, even as democratic socialism. As a democratic socialism, they'll be looking at the aspect of like, hey, everything is what we kind of saw a little bit on it when we had the mask when it came out. When the government took over, it said put a cease on everything on the mask and put a price limit on everything. And this is what you as a company is going to be able to sell that specific product to our consumers. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's a way of how the democratic socialism kind of works on it. But that same company internationally was tripling that mask, because that was the issues I was having, to sell to different countries on the whole aspect. So how we put into it as a person, somebody else is going to benefit on it. Some other countries, for example, Colombia, it's called estratos. So they go by section from 1 to 6. So if you live if you make enough money, you live in this social area, which is classified class 6. Those people there pay higher electric bill, higher water bill, because the people who live in class 1 or 2 don't have the money for that. So you're paying for those people type of a percentage, so it kind of balances it out. So a lot of people look at it like kind of like what Cuba it is. I wish A-Rod was here, because he experienced it firsthand when his family was taken. They took his family's property away, and was given to the people. You know what I mean? He has a great story on how he came over from Cuba as a kid, being able to see how all that stuff was taken away, because his family was, they were well economically stable family. So seeing that whole aspect, it has a lot of people look at the socialism point of view, like those AOC followers or these other people. They think that I work for what I have, and everybody here, I'm pretty sure we got the issues given, but I'm not going to give if that person's not really willing to do something to better himself. You know what I mean? That's why I have a big problem with those programs that we have, because people take abuse of those programs. You know what I'm saying?
Can I jump in there for a minute there? My brother,
yes, sir. Please.
Again, the hat that I wear here is I'm always trying to tie in Christian principle, right, and the biblical perspective. So as I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking, well, how does this relate to the faith? Socialism essentially lines up with a liberal train of thought that the government, big brother, right, is going to be able to provide for our needs on a day-to-day basis, right? That there's a biblical principle where God says, if you don't work, you don't eat.
Yes, sir.
Right? That is a principle that, our nation is founded upon. The capitalist free market system that we operate under, and within, there's great reward, right? God says, for every, there's profit for all work. With all work, there's profit, God says, right? That's another biblical principle. So, if you take away the incentive to work, the carrot, so to speak, what are we going to have? We're just going to have a reliance and over-reliance on government. And, I don't think that's a system in which anybody who, has lived in this country is going to appreciate knowing the freedoms that we've been afforded in the past, right? Through the, I guess our rights granted to us underneath the Constitution and all of the amendments. Again, we see a movement that is coalescing with the world. The world wants to go to the new world order, right? They want, a removal of borders, and they want to marginalize, I guess the American businessman or businesswoman, businesses that have the ability to be self-sufficient and provide a certain way of life. Corporations are taking over. That's something that we'll fight until our dying breath. All the patriots and all men and women of God that subscribe to these principles that God, has provided to us.
Amen. Hey, our Constitution, John Adams says that our Constitution was meant for a moral and religious people.
Amen.
And
Amen.
you're seeing there's only there's a certain group that wants to get rid of that Constitution, and that's the ones who hate religion, and that's the ones that sell us on the idea of false morality, and so forth.
Amen. Amen. Yeah.
Well, I would offer you a counter opinion just because that's who I am.
Love it.
If you want to adopt the biblical principles, or if the church was doing what the church should do, the government wouldn't have to have welfare.
No, well, there's some truth to that.
So if we were truly a community and we were taking care of the poor, the widow, the orphan, then the government wouldn't need orphanages. The government wouldn't need welfare programs because the church would have taken care of all those people. So by establishing a government and by starting welfare programs, we gave churches a tax deduction, but we're not looking for churches to do, or no one expects the churches to do it all. But imagine if the churches did do it all.
Yeah.
No, that's true. No, and would it be? That's a great point. I mean, why is it that a church is not put to liability to certain things? You know, for example, when it comes to the tax credit like that, I know I've done business with pastors in the Carolinas who owns stores, radio stations, and everything, and use everything under the church. You know what I mean? Just to avoid to pay those taxes, but that money is not used to his community. You know what I'm trying to say? I am the business. I'm a business type of person, transaction, but I'm looking at the moral part of this person. Of course, when it comes to business, two different things. But what I'm saying is for me, it was kind of like, wow, you know, eye opener. How some people take. I know it's out there to probably be used and utilized, but when it comes to something like with a church, when somebody goes to a church, is because they need that spiritual connection or they need that higher level of support. It's not being there; it's being taken advantage of. So why not hold the church liable to certain things to be provided to the community?
No, I agree. There's a lot of accountability to go around, a lot of fingers to point the blame at, and tell you, there's a lot of churches that do a lot of good, and they don't get enough credit for what they do, and there's a lot of people who take advantage of those churches, which, you know, it ruins it for the next people, you know, that really needs it. You know, it's a complicated issue. It's not one where you can there's not a simple fix for any of it.
Yeah, if you remember during the time of the, what's going on? We had a catastrophe, I think a natural disaster in Texas, right? Storms and then
the great floods,
floods, right? What's the pastor's name?
Osteen.
He didn't want to open up the church, all right, and that was not a good look at all for.
No, it wasn't.
Right, I think he
changed
the topic once the public relations started to kick in, but you know, the very initial reaction should have been to open those doors, but again, we're worried about monetary and cost instead of serving as the church, being a church of God, and showing forth the love of God and within our respective communities. Then you're going to have these types of events take place. I mean, look at me. I'll use myself as an example, and ministry starts at home. I claim to be a man of God. I claim to be, Brother LaShawn Hakodesh Bush. But when somebody comes to me, right, if I turn them away, right, wrong, or indifferent, they're gonna leave feeling a certain way about that, right? If I don't take the time to genuinely hear them out and express that I am concerned with their well-being spiritually, that mentally, physically, right, across the board, then they're gonna say, well, that individual is not really put it on display the attributes that I expect to see from somebody who's in the faith. So it starts at home on an individual basis, and then it expands upward and outward, through the various churches that exist, all the way up to the corporate level.
I agree with that, but with that said, there's only so much one person can do. and which, you know, and I'm not going to say no names, but I know Captain knows who I'm talking about. There was a person we had in the ministry who you helped so much, but then, you know, you had to look out for you, and then you were seen as, well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I mean,
I think if you know, again, with the comparison of Joel Osteen, the initial, you know, response was, you know, we're not going to open the doors, we're not going to help, and people just took that the wrong way, right? So you never want to come across as being more concerned about, you know, things that ultimately don't have eternal value than, you know, your concern is for people, right? When it comes to people, you know, we as the church, we should be very invested and very, you know, I guess dedicated to meeting needs, right, physically. And you can't talk about things that are in heaven when you know, people's stomachs are rumbling, right? And that's why you see so many soup kitchens, which from what I understand, that's something that's even under attack. It's becoming against the law to be able to feed somebody. That's been a long time dream of mine to start a soup kitchen and, you know, hand out food, you know, again, to meet the needs of people. But from what I'm understanding, that's starting to even become something that ministries are having a hard time being able to do.
why?
Why is the question.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I mean,
And I'll speak to that because, you know, again, if we're talking about this new world order, right, where the government has the ability to control who buys and who sells, right? If you're not complying, you're going to have to face the consequences. Now, if you got a ministry out there and then, you know, you're not complying with the, let's say, you know, the COVID-19 vaccine, you know, laws and statutes, but you're going to go to the ministry and get something to eat, not going to happen, right? So I believe that's where, you know,
I understand now.
You're right.
Hey, and if you don't think the New World Order is real, if you don't think it's not a real concept, just look what they've done with COVID-19, the draconian lockdowns. I mean, people are literally starving right now, hungry. They want to work.
It's seen as dispensable.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really, you know, if it was up to these people, those in charge, and it's not up to them, but if it was up to them, none of us would exist. I mean, literally think about it. There'd only be 1% of the population that's here now. Less than that, really.
Yeah.
And all this comes, and you're right, going on your soup kitchen part on it, the reason that I heard about that is the location where they were being set up, because when somebody goes to get some food, they cannot ask them for income, verify, nothing, right? Person walks in, like, I'm hungry, let me get some food. They were setting them too close to actual profit businesses, like restaurants, stuff like that. So people, instead of going to buying at that place, they would go to the soup area and get some chow. So they were looking at some states were looking at zoning those locations where they could actually operate those, so they wouldn't interfere with the business, with the profit personnel's on it, on the with the profit side of the house on it. Now, my question to you guys are this: should the church be involved with the government, or should the church be an organization who should be operating parallel to the government? Now, you know what I'm trying to say, because that's what I think. Because as we look at the new world order you guys are talking about, church is not involved at all. And I
you know what? Let me jump in here, if I may, gentlemen. You know, I always hear the separation of church and state, right? We always hear that.
There's no such thing.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant Colonel, right?
I love it when he talks, man. It's like that guy in the cow. It's the voice from nowhere. It just comes out. Boom.
You that authority? You that authority? You hear that Cartman authority?
Yeah. He's got a future in voiceovers.
That's that military inflection right there, right? The command, preparatory command execution.
He's that little voice you get back here when you think, should I do this? Do it.
Right. Keep it straight, Dave. Keep it straight. You know, so you always heard that separation of church and state, But yet, our former president, he's quick to point out this is no longer a Christian nation. And, we can understand everybody has the right to express their religious beliefs, right? That's what makes America great. But again, it just seems as if what was once a Christian nation, those principles, right, are being removed, and you're seeing implemented, paganism, right? Nobody seems to have an issue with, drag queen story hour, right? There's supposed to be separation between church and state. So, again, I see it as an attack on what I guess has made us great, and that is the Christian principle that the nation was founded on. I believe that, we can, the further we get away from that, the more we're going to see, the destruction of the nation, right? Families, the family structure, the family unit. I always like to say, as a family goes, so goes the nation, and so goes society at large, right? So the family, right, and from a Christian perspective, again, consists of a man and a woman traditionally, right? The man is a representation of Jesus Christ as the groom. The woman is the representation of the church as the bride of Christ. And when, everybody's playing their position, it works cohesively, and, everybody's blessed, right? But if you remove one of those pillars, then, a lot of dysfunction sets in. You'll see that that's the case. And again, there's alternative, I guess, lifestyles and partners, I guess they want their rights. But, again, these principles that have allowed us to be where we are right now as a nation are Christian principles historically. So you want to take that out of, the classrooms. But again, it's hypocritical because we're putting paganism in the classroom, right?
Humanism has been there for years.
Right. What about allowing, and as a matter of fact, President Trump has signed laws to put, to basically, reinstate the Christian voice within, government, within our society, schools, and, other areas of daily life.
Well, and God bless them for that. And I heard earlier I was watching Newsmax where out in San Diego, they're making teachers take a white privilege training.
I heard something about that.
Yeah,
Actually, I saw it on the news today too, over here, the local news. I didn't know what that meant.
Do they issue out white privilege after you take that course or no? I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for mine to kick in personally. And you want to look at trying to do away with, when you try to doing away with our rights, look what they deem essential and necessary during the lockdowns. They said, don't go to church. Church is a no-no. You can go to the big box stores like Walmart. You can go to the liquor store. You can go to the strip club. But you can't go to church. Don't go to church. Don't go to work. You see, they're just slowly taking away our rights. And, during the first round of lockdowns, okay, people did that. And then when they saw this disease, this virus was not very deadly, and it's not, 99.9% survival rate, then people said no more. And Mendez brought something up very interesting earlier, talking about the masks. Think in history, who else used face coverings to cover themselves up? The Ku Klux Klan did that. Hitler's brown shirts, they did that. And Antifa does that. History starts coming together in real life. And especially if you don't know it. And you're talking about the classrooms. I was born in 1986. I didn't learn.
80s, baby.
I didn't learn what you guys did. They changed it when I went there. And you look back just a little, it's been not even 100 years since they started teaching some of this nonsense. And look, and Mendez was talking about the soup kitchens. They're making them where you can't feed people. Now, I'm not against profits. I'm all for profits. I'm a capitalist through and through. But there's a reason why John Adams said that our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people. It's because moral religious people, while for profits, they're also for helping each other.
Right.
And another Bible parody, or not parody, but parable.
Principle.
No, it's actually a parable that Christ taught, the parable of talents. You know, he gave 3 men, or the master gave 3 men 3 different amounts of talents or money. He left, and when he come back, he learned that 2 of them doubled their amount, the original amount, and the one that sat on it, he told him to go out. And he took his money from him and he gave it to the guy that made the most. You know, that's a Christian principle that our nation's built upon. And they're slowly taking it away.
Good point. Good point.
I think it's like you say, I mean, we were built on a Christian principle. It is going away as society keeps adjusting or trying to fit everything, every little hearts and minds into it, every little cubby hole there is into. But I think it's going to be a time, I think it's going to end up being a point that it will have to put a stop. I think the government did a good thing. I'm like, hey, all right, states, it's your headache, not mine. You deal with it. You want to be sovereignty. You want to have your own. You make your own decision within. And then people will move around from there. I mean, some states will allow it. Some states will not. We're seeing how Oregon it's not as allow all type of drugs, but they're not really convicting on it. You know what I'm trying to say? On some type of go. We just passed, this week or past week, that marijuana now is not a federal consumption type deal, crime now. So, I mean, that's on the federal side of the house. I see things. How would the states adjust to certain changes like this? That's what we like to be able to see, because it has to go to that level, that state level. How is the state going to deal with certain things within their state? Are they going to hear about the national criticism, or are they going to only deal with what they need to deal with within their own state? You know what I mean? And that's either going to move people in or going to move people out. I mean, you tell Oregon, hey, you come to my state, we're not really going to send you to jail if you have if you have enough drugs in you that is for personal use, you're kind of good with us. Well, a lot of people are like, you know what, let me move over there. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, okay, I'm not moving to that type of state now. So we got to see how this is going to really play out. But I think
it's interesting though, with potentially, Mr. Biden going into office and Kamala Harris.
No, I'm sorry, President-elect. Make sure you correct yourself.
The official title, right? President-elect,
Yeah, I know that.
He doesn't even have 250 electoral votes.
There you go. With Mr. Biden, let's go.
Right. But I was being respectful when I called him Mr. Biden. I got other names for him. But yeah. So, with their record, and we'll look with drug, reform, and, he's the author of the 94 crime bill that Bill Clinton signed into, I guess, a law, and, that Reagan would not sign into law in 84 because of its moral ineptitudes, all right, and questions marks associated with it. I just wonder, what the country's gonna, are we gonna become very liberal when it comes to, marijuana, across the, I guess the landscape nationally speaking? What influence is he gonna have when he was throwing people that look like me in jail, right, and other minorities at a record number, right, back in the 90s, right?
So are you saying they're literally locking up the black vote?
That's what it was. They didn't want.
Yeah, I heard him.
You know what? We laugh and we joke, but listen, between Planned Parenthood and between the African Americans that have been disenfranchised, and not every, I guess, state that disallows for African Americans to be able to vote if they have a felony. There's mechanisms in place that you can bypass, but again, not many people know that if you have a felony in certain states, you can still vote.
Certain states.
I didn't know that either.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
until a couple of programs we did ago. I didn't know that until then.
So now is he going to become this liberal, I guess, president when it comes to drug policy now when he was slamming people back in the.
But don't you know? No, that's in the past. Let's talk present. I'm telling you presently. So don't worry about what I've done in the past.
Right, it doesn't
That
affect
don't count.
anybody now.
No,
Those
no.
47 years were
Hey.
nothing. They're already gone.
Got a mulligan, okay?
I'm gonna tell you, my dad's last name is Parker. My last name is Bush, and it's related to a lot of those policies, right? Because the woman had to have, I guess, the woman couldn't have a man in the house, right? And you know, just the trickle down effect, right? And not in a good way. We're not talking.
Good way.
Not
You're
talking Reagan, huh? Not talking Reagan economics.
Economics are not necessarily related to profit, you know.
Well, I mean, then that brings up the question: is there women out there having a bunch of kids
Yes,
Yeah.
and not
I said it.
Right.
not caring
I can
about
tell
the-
you.
But socialism,
that they-
go back to socialism.
Hey, you know,
I mean-
I've actually known people to do that, and Mindy's whiter than me, so he can say it.
No, I know people who are in that business. I know people who are in the business of getting with people, getting and then breaking up. And between when it comes to that child support, to it comes to the social, to the state benefits that they get from the federal government, to when it comes to the income taxes, they have made their whole career on that whole part. I've seen it. I've seen it plenty of times happen.
You know, and when you look at the way it was set up, it was a systemic approach to cripple society.
Mm-hmm.
And it's socialism approach, you know, to make people dependent upon the government. And, you know, they just labeled it as something else. They called it the Great Society. It sounds good. It really does, or it did, but it doesn't work. And I've known several people within, you know, that realm where they wouldn't have a dad around, because if you have a dad around, you don't qualify for this stuff. And they'd have 3 or 4 or 5 kids by 3 or 4 or 5 different men. And well, you know, we've talked about LBJ Johnson, Lyndon Johnson. He's the one who signed it into law. And he also was the one who was behind, or at least in part behind, the Kennedy assassination. And that's another story for another day. But you know, he's known for saying that he'd have this certain group of people voting Democrat for 200 years. And then you talk about Hillary Clinton. Her mentor was Margaret Sanger, who said that she wanted to, in part, exterminate the black race. Then you talk about eugenics, Margaret Sanger, the perfect race of people. And
Puerto Rican. I mean, that's what the internet says, not me.
Now, I'm just saying this is a systemic approach to cripple society, our country. And this is why we can't allow for this stuff to happen, because once they get us, we never get those freedoms back.
And I think that you're right there. We have already experienced that socialism type of lifestyle, how people depend on it. Because literally this week, I was talking to a person that was helping build a business, I've been actually helping them for a past almost a year now. And they finally told me, hey, I'm no longer on food stamp. I don't qualify for food stamp. Because it was a daily norm for that person to do like that. And now, because that person was able to get a job that helped them trying to save money, how to be able to move, start their own little home-based business, they were getting enough income now, and that person now is not on that specific. And they were surprised. They're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, go buy groceries. You got money now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, but the thing is it was such a norm. What I mean by that is what triggered my curiosity is that person was used to that being there. You know what I mean? That was part of their lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Now that was taken away, it was a big eye opener for them to see, wait a minute, I can actually do other things on the other side, and being able to adjust now to that change. So now that person has to learn how to adjust that to that change, because now it's more worried about saving and keeping an employment, because they don't have this system anymore. So that was kind of interesting to see how, like you were saying, a lot of people do start depending on it as their part of. I've seen people get briefed to come to this country. Oh, once you get there, you apply for food stamp. We'll get you on Section 8. We'll do this, this, and that because if you get, you're gonna start getting paid this much. I'm like, listen, that's not how you want to bring people here. Because once they go into that bubble, that's it. It's hard to get out of that bubble.
I've sadly got a family member who actually married an illegal to get him legal over here.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this stuff happens all the time. That, you know, that's just making light of the American dream. People come over here for real reasons. And let me ask you guys a question. What do y'all think about the illusion of freedoms? I mean, do you consider what we've got here after the draconian lockdowns, the government telling you where you can and cannot go? Where do you see our freedoms headed?
Right in a dumpster.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I agree. And is Dave the lone guy out? I mean, is he the one that thinks we've got all our freedom still?
No, I mean, what is freedom?
Oh, here we go.
There you go. Go ahead, Dave. You somewhere in there. He's in
Oh
there
no, I'm
somewhere.
gonna stay quiet.
He knows what to talk. He's gonna come with the right information. God is right on target. You know what I mean?
Yep. You know, we talked about you know, freedom to bear arms, right to bear arms, and freedom of speech. You know, the media, they want us to all speak with one voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Absolutely.
it's the voice of those that are in power, right? And, you know,
So much for tolerance, huh?
you know, even on Facebook, you can't, you know, if somebody disagrees with you, related to politics or religion, you know, they want to delete you right away. Whatever happened to, you know, again, everybody live and let live. Can't we all just get along, right? That's Rodney King, right? That's a quote.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is the United States of America, right? We are, you know, founded because we came here to practice religion, and also it wasn't just that, right? But it was, you know, no taxation, you know, without representation. That was, you know, one of the reasons why because initially we didn't come over here and decide to, you know, start our own, you know, thing. We were being taxed, and we weren't receiving fair representation, you know, that spoke to our concerns as a colony, right? As a multitude of colonies. So we had to, you know, say, hey, look, that's not right. We have rights, right? We have freedoms that are afforded to us because of the fact that we're made in God's image. You know, so hey, and again, if we can if they can successfully, you know, convince us to do away with our, you know, right to, you know, practice religion and worship God, then of course, you know, we're just a number. We're not entitled to anything.
You know, I love that the founders put in the Constitution that the freedom, the separation of church and state. It doesn't mean the separation.
It's not there.
It doesn't mean that there's freedom from a religion. It's freedom of religion. You know, we have the right to. That
No, it's not.
That just prevented any group, you know, any dictator, I guess you'd say, or any president from becoming a dictator and making, you know, one religion the law of the land.
And go.
The Establishment Clause. It is the government will not establish a religion. It is nothing about freedom of religion. It actually just says the government will not set up a state-sponsored religion. That's what the Constitution means. And that's why it was a Supreme Court ruling that used the words separation of church and state. It's nowhere in the Constitution.
But that's freedom. That's freedom of religion, not freedom from religion.
But it's freedom from a state-sponsored, an established church.
Right. And that because not everyone's of the same faith. And they gave everyone the right to have whatever faith or no faith at all. And if you don't want to have faith, you don't have to have faith. And that's the great thing about you know, being in America. Now, speaking to that New World Order, like Mendez said, under a New World Order system, there is no religion. Your loyalty, you know, lays with that government, to the government.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one thing that makes us great is that we have states. Each state is independently. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that we gotta always emphasize is understand it's the state, the state, the state, the state. At the end, what California does is gonna be different than what North Carolina does. You know what I mean? So each
Very
state
different.
itself has their specific regs and regulations and laws and everything. Granted, the Constitution is the motherboard. That's the mother shit right there. You know what I mean? Everything derives from there. And like we were saying earlier, like when it comes to the church, what I'm not saying earlier, what I was asking earlier, should church be an organization or something to be operated or being parallel to the government, to that specific government? And I think with what you guys said, especially with what the Colonel just said, it kind of makes sense now, as the state not being a state cannot specifically sponsor a specific religion. But how within those specific states are we going to see certain changes? We just saw the new cardinal that just came off from Illinois, from Chicago. You know, the first African American from the United States to be a cardinal up there. You know what I mean? And he just got within the papacy, within ourselves and the Catholic. We seen politics being played now within in my side of the house, in the Catholic side of the house. There's a lot of people who don't like Pope Francis. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people say why Pope Benedict went away. There's a lot of stuff going around that. So what are we going in a political way? I mean, in a religious way, how is that being played in the political side? You know what I mean? How would that play on the decision of the society or within that specific state?
I'm glad you brought that up, that every state being independent from one another. Like when you go back to the election, there's 50 different elections held on election night. You know, we all have different election laws, which is a great thing. And our founders gave us that freedom. But to answer that question about what you asked originally, I don't like the idea of the church getting involved with the government, because then if they did, the government would have the right to tell them what they can and cannot do or cannot say.
Well, I don't mean really getting involved with the state, with the government. I mean, should the church be talking, like right now we're doing this church, right? I mean, this show. And like Captain Bush goes ahead and always talk to us. My hat on this is to put the religious point of view of what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't the church be doing the same thing, or should they use that strategy within the congregation, utilizing that platform to support or to talk about the current government side? Now, with that being said, I'm probably contradicting my own self when I do say I don't like politics being mixed within sports. You know what I mean? Because that's my disconnection. So that could be another argument. But I'm just saying, would that be an influence? Because we see how religious leaders are used to political movement. But I'm saying, as a religious leader that person could be, how is that person influencing that specific congregation or his followers to a specific political view? Or is that person being neutral enough to maintain the Christian value or the religious values they have within their specific beliefs?
I like how you put that with the religion or with sports and politics. I remember in 2012, it was a hot button issue with should churches who talk about religion within, or with the church that talk about politics within the pulpit, should they have their tax exempt status taken away from them? And I don't like that idea of taking their their tax exempt status because they talk about politics. If politicians can talk about churches, if they can say you can and cannot go to church, why can a pastor not talk about what's going on within Washington, D.C.?
Mm-hmm. Well, they would never do that anyways, because you got mega churches that are supporting certain politicians anyways. They're putting money into the, so that would never happen anyways.
Well, I mean, I just know there's been a lot of talk about it. I don't like to talk when it comes up, but there's always talk about it. And it seems like it's only around certain period of times.
It's in light a certain period of time. And I think it's mostly, my personal view is church, deal with church stuff. You know what I mean? That's me. My personal view. I was just throwing that question out. My view is Church, you just deal with church, you deal with your congregation, you believe, take care of your congregation, spiritually, mentally, and support within your community what you got to do. That's my point of view. But we utilize this part as the United States being founded on their religion, and people want to connect that part within the churches on it, even though most of them were Orthodox type religions that was founded on it. They want to go ahead and mix everything within politics and churches on the whole side of the house on it. When it comes to be like take away in God we trust or all this type of stuff away from schools, granted, I do not agree with it. I grew up with it in the public school within the United States. When I was growing up, I had no issues with it. Me as a person that came from a Spanish-speaking territory to the United States, it was kind of interesting to me to see that, because in my school, they were real strong about my history of the island history, which I know a lot of international people came, they knew a lot about their history in certain ways on it. But coming in here and seeing different colors in one classroom, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of interesting, and all of them being united by that specific saying every morning. In my point of view, as me coming up as a kid, that's what I saw out of it.
Well, I know when I was in school, we didn't pray. We had a moment of silence, but we didn't pray. I know maybe Tim and Dave and maybe Captain remembers praying. I never pray. I know my parents prayed. They said the Pledge of Allegiance, which as of right now is still in public schools from my understanding. I don't know about everywhere, but I can see in the not too distant future where that'll be taken away.
Surprisingly, me being down in the Bible, but you would think that we prayed.
Mhm.
We had a moment of silence, like you said. And if you wanted to pray, you could pray. If you didn't, you didn't, but you had to be quiet.
Yeah, we weren't even given the option. Yeah, and I'm in Tennessee. I'm just, right in the middle of the Bible Belt as well. And I come from, like I said, in one of those chats, maybe Tim read it. I didn't go to school with the black kid until 2000, when I was 13 years old. And sometimes it's a little different when you're new with something, but you make adjustments, and that's what the American life is all about: making adjustments, adapting. But these new ways of thinking, these new ways of life, the new norm, as they call it, and I hate that terminology, the new norm. I don't know how much further people are going to be led down that road. I mean,
stability. If Biden does get it, America will adapt.
America will be what?
We will adapt. We'll adapt to whatever he puts into place. We might not like it, but we'll still have to govern and rule depending on the laws that he puts into place. Unfortunately, but at the end of the day, when the next term comes around for re-election, if it didn't work out and we don't like it, then the people can vote him out and reverse some stuff, maybe, or go back more to the center.
Well, I know one thing that Trump said that really stuck with me, really struck a chord with me, was if he lost fairly, he would step aside, he concede. But with everything that they've got, and they've got so much more, if they're leaking some stuff out to the public, just imagine what they have behind the scenes, and they're not showing in the courts. Why would you don't reveal your hand in a card game too soon? And dead man's hand, as Bill Hickok learned. You don't reveal it too soon, because then they would be able to debunk it or try to debunk it. At least as psychological warfare or myth warfare. But
this time of day, you don't have to debunk anything. You get enough people saying it. That's all that matters. You get enough professionals,
yeah,
saying the same thing, people believe it. So,
something that a few months ago, and I'm sure everyone noticed it, but we talked about it on the show a while back, and it was how they were starting to say that pedophilia is a sexual orientation. They had these experts saying it's not a mindset anymore, it's a sexual orientation, and they were trying to get people to accept that. Because what are we not talking about right now? We're not talking about Jeffrey Epstein. We're talking about COVID-19. Why is that? Why are we not talking about Maxwell? Why are we not talking about these celebrities that are connected with them? Our world politicians, our politicians. Mendez brought out the list. Barack Obama was on that list. Bill Clinton, Henry Kissinger, Joe Biden, probably. I'm just saying we're not talking about things that we should be.
You know what? There's a reason for everything.
Oh, absolutely.
All the dots connect if you're able to, peel back the onion, figuratively speaking, and we'll find that there's a spirit at work.
Yes, sir.
There's a nefarious, spirit at work. We talk about Baal worship and activity that's been going on for years. This has not gone away. It's now packaged in Planned Parenthood, pedophilia. Again, it's just interesting that everybody who doesn't necessarily side with Christian principle is on that side, right? Highly weird. Everybody has a hand in these activities, right? But we don't see that in mainstream media. These things don't get reported. They don't get focused on. But that's what we're up against, and that is what the president of the United States is fighting. That is the war, right? If you're a man of Christian principle, you're trying to combat that system.
The spirit of Jezebel.
Well, and I watched a documentary not long ago. I forget the name of it, but it talked about how movies, Hollywood is desensitizing all these generations coming up to where now you're seeing things on TV that you wouldn't dare seeing 20 years ago on TV.
Out of darkness.
Darkness, pedophiles, all that kind of stuff. They're normalizing it all.
Is that Out of Darkness, the documentary?
Yep.
It is. That is the name of it.
Yeah, I seen that right there. And these are two people stuntmen that did this movie, that's documentary. And they said it's out in the open, but if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know it's there, or you don't know what's going on. Because, they don't just do this right out in the open where everybody can see it. But you
wanted a picture of me on the dude's ass, brother. I sent you one.
Yeah, Tim got a haircut.
Oh, easy. I shaved.
Yeah, well, okay. He got a trim. But it's when the media tells you, when those that's in charge tell you to look one way, you have to ask yourself, what are they hiding us from? As Christians, Scripture tells us that everything we go through is spiritual. It's spiritual battle. And we see this at every level. Mindy talks about the different levels of government. And we have to, the presidency is important. It's more than ever now, but the state governments, the local governments, we have to know who's in charge. Look at California, San Francisco, for example. You can't smoke a cigarette in your apartment, but you can smoke weed. Yeah, I mean, they just passed that bill. I mean, it was last week I was reading about it. Maybe it's over the weekend.
I know in Cali you had to wear your mask inside your house.
I've seen that too.
If you have family members come in.
Yeah, and they were limiting the number of guests you could have. In Chicago, they canceled Thanksgiving altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of these not celebrities, but a lot of these politicians, the mayors and governors, they're putting these lockdowns in place, these rules in place, but then they forget to abide by them themselves. How are we supposed to take you seriously when you don't even take what you do seriously?
No, you're right on it.
And we're seeing a lack of leadership that like we've never seen before.
And it's going to show. It's going to show all that. And I think people need to start looking at, like I said, from. I'm reading right now, real quick. A comment. Satan is very active in our government, from Susie. Yes.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly, like I said, state. I mean, that state level is critical because at the end of the day, like you were saying, I'm the presidency. There's three houses. We got legislative, we got congressional, we got our presidential. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court people, those are there for life. Whoever wants to get on that seat until they throw the boots, they're not leaving. So putting the right people, that's a very critical election of who goes there. And we don't even have a choice who puts that person in there. You know what I'm saying? So understanding in our state level, who's involved and what are their values, what are their vision, what are they looking, what are the projection of things is very critical, because people still don't understand that this federal, it don't messes with them. I mean, about 70% of the federal stuff does not mess with the regular person. It's that state. You know what I mean? It's that county. A lot of people don't know they pay their property taxes, the home property taxes, to the county, not to even the state. You know, I had to educate people on that stuff like 3 times last month. You know what I mean? They're like, what do you mean this? I'm like, no, that don't even go to the federal government. Your house property goes to your county. That's who you pay it to. That's who you go claim about your street, your schools, and your something. That's what that money's there for. You know what I mean? And people don't understand that. People think that we're living in a way that Biden, Trump, or whoever's up in that level is going to be the one that's going to make the decision for the regular daily life. It's not. It's that state level leadership that they need to start worrying about and learning from to be able to make changes.
That's it. I'm running for mayor for Calhoun.
There you go. And it is a lot of, I know a lot of people on it. We have our lieutenant.
Be the change, Tim. Be the change.
Hey, we got Lieutenant Hubbs. He's in Congress up in his state, up in Washington State. We got many. There's some pretty, hey, you'll be surprised.
I heard before he was in politics.
Yeah.
Eric LaFoy. Alabama, right?
Who?
Alabama.
Where's LaFoy from?
LaFoy from Alabama. He was running for something in like I don't want to say the mayor, but something within the city. You know what I mean? And I encourage that. I mean, guys like us who are retired, who got nothing else to do than sit here sometimes BS about politics, you know what I mean? We can literally go out there and just, I'm not saying run for something, but hey, go volunteer at a local your local government. See what you can learn from it. You know, because at the end of the day, they might even like to listen to stuff that we say. You know what I mean? I'm a big guy that likes to go within the Chamber of Commerce. You know what I mean? I go in there, I try to, hey, I'm here. I go to the SBA, hey, I'm here. Whatever you guys, I don't care. You want me to do photocopies for you 1 hour out of the week? I don't care. I'll take that time, because not only you're exposing yourself out there, but you're learning what's happening within your region, your community. You know what I mean? That is impacting us. All of us have some type of interest internally, whether it be our business, our organizations that we support, or our values on it. But engaging there, you'd be surprised how you'd be able to make a lot of changes little by little with those little grain of salt.
You know what? I think what's unique about this group, the Brothers Dwell in Unity, is that a lot of us have literally put our beliefs on the line, as far as put our lives on the line in support of the statutes and the principles, right? You know, we were willing to actually fight, you know, or to support, you know, those things. So who's not gonna, you know, get on board with that? And who doesn't have an appreciation for that type of, you know, person in this day and age that we live in, especially we're talking about, you know, America. And, you know, so everybody loves a fighter. Everybody loves somebody that's willing to, you know, put their money where their mouth is. And that just translates well into other areas of life. You know, if we're talking business, if we're, you know, whatever it may be, right? You know, you go ahead and you were a veteran, you were a soldier, you were an infantry soldier at that. And, you know, the doors are going to open up for you. The opportunities are going to open up for you.
Mm-hmm. It will be. I mean, I encourage anybody out there, military, non-military, to take some time and find out those local agencies. Either it could be your city, your county, or even your state. You know what I mean? And just go out in those offices. Hey, I would like to just volunteer. I mean, you know what I mean? And you're going to start learning some stuff there that you'll be like surprised on it. And then, and if it's something that interests you, they're going to end up moving to the political side of the house and go for it. You know what I mean? Make a change. And nothing better to do than put some, at least you make some different. Go ahead, Kurt, sir. I see you popped up.
Boom. Is he going to talk?
I guess no.
No.
Well, hey, I'll say this right quick. If I ever did run, I'd be assassinated in the first week, I guarantee you. Because my whole statement would be, who cares what I think and what I want? It's not about me, it's about you. What do you want me to do?
And that's it. That's great. And yeah, that'd be great.
Shot, I guarantee you, because they're not used to that.
Hey, Tim, I don't live down in Georgia, but based off of what we just saw in November, you've got my vote from Tennessee.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Now, if we're using Dominion, it will probably go to the other side. Unless you run as a Democrat, then it'll stay there.
Like I said, I'd get shot this week. Other minds.
Hey, start at the school level then. Go school board or something.
No. I'm Cooper. I go big or go home.
There you go. There you go. Hey, don't be scared. We got you, brother.
You know,
Calhoun doesn't have any school boards.
Oh.
We do, but they don't know what they're doing.
Well, I can say the same thing here. For a long time now, it does start locally, and I can't believe I'm quoting this woman, but Hillary Clinton said it takes a village to raise a child, which that's completely wrong. That's completely wrong mentality. But when you look at things like that, then you get what we have now, and the school systems are completely in shambles right now, and some are better than others. But when you look at what they're teaching at a local level, then you're like, I'm paying for that. And I mean, it literally makes you want to, and a lot of people can't afford it, but it literally makes you want to just teach your kids yourself. Because at least you know what they're being taught. And for example, out in California, they're making it legal where you can teach kids as young as 6 and 7 years old, about homosexuality, about pedophilia and so forth. And I mean, this is perversion at its finest.
Yeah, at some point you gotta dig in the trenches and you gotta, push back and, stand for what's right. Otherwise, we'll be doing everything that we don't want to do and wondering how we got there, right? You can only be bullied for so long, right? And you put a cat in the corner, you put a baby in the corner, the baby's gonna come out,
See you, Dave.
Biting and so there's only but for so long that
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
you're not gonna let me go, Dave. I thought you was leaving.
Oh, yeah.
Be safe. Be safe, sir. Thanks for stopping in, dialoguing with us.
Being the voice in the background.
Right. I like that.
Great with their boss.
Let me watch what I'm saying.
Hey, Tim, I'll vote for you, but I don't know about dreaming about you.
Oh, everybody will dream about me.
I miss you. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. All right, Dave. Take it light.
See you, Tim.
Lieutenant Colonel Dykeman. So again, we talked a lot tonight about
Mr. Cooper.
politics and the election, and that's real hot right now, obviously, right? What else we want to talk about? We got about another 28 minutes, gentlemen. We want to tell some soldier stories, talk a little shit,
I think soldier stories are kind of right now, how you call it, too dangerous to speak.
Well, we had the Tower of Babylon on.
Hey, you ain't lying. I think I was in one of the chat rooms. I told a little joke about, there's these comedians. I guess you may have seen it where I guess they were making fun of reservists.
Oh, I think I saw that little chat break going on.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Somebody got offended. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, goodness gracious, can't even tell a little joke these days. What's going on? Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful.
We are the nation of offended.
Oh, I should throw in there real quick though, because of the logo and the flag. My words tonight was of my own representation and does not reflect this organization.
There you go.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I probably should say that about this here too.
Right. Hey, do it as we say, not as we do. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah, mine does go with
motto.
C&E though. We're wide open.
Well,
No,
we've
but,
The
been,
whole aspect.
I'll be real brief, real quick. We talked about this topic before. If I can segue and introduce it, I just want to get everybody's thoughts. Is color of any significance when it comes to the Christian faith, or lineage? I'm speaking to the issue of, Jesus Christ being black or Jesus Christ being white, right? Does that matter at all? And let me lay this out nice and easy, right? There's some people that they say no, it doesn't really matter. We're all one in Christ. There's neither Greek nor Jew. But then there's a train of thought that for African Americans, the things that we've experienced in America over the last 400 years, that this is some sort of prophecy. This is related to biblical prophecy, right? And because we are the Jews, the actual Jews of the Bible, right? And I'm having a lot of discussion right now, and a lot of people are, very opinionated on this topic. And I respect each and every opinion related to this topic. But a lot of people feel that that's a racist position if you hold it, that African Americans are, the Jews, they don't even want to entertain it. They don't want to discuss it, right? And if you also look at the history of African Americans in this country, we've kind of been, our history has been somewhat hidden. And every time we talk about the history of African Americans, it's always the slaves, right? Even other Africans, right, from different countries, right? And Africa is a continent, right? Different African countries, they look at African Americans like, what is going on over there? Why can't y'all get it right, right? Why can't y'all get it right, And they know where they come from. They have a rich history and tradition and legacy. But it just seems that the African American, he's been unable to, progress since the time that we arrived here in 1619. And we know all about the systematic oppression, reference Joe Biden and, that 94 crime bill and the second and third order effects that had, right? I told you I had a license plate. I was looking at it. It says CIB. It was a badass license plate. I was feeling good. And then I had the thought one of my brothers might have made this license plate, right? And I was like, you know what? This is not right.
You made both license plates. You just got it anyway.
I got it.
Okay.
I got the license plate. Trust me. But again, I just want to throw that out there. And I'm actually speaking with a young woman in the faith who's of Jewish descent, who is speaking from that perspective. So it's very interesting. Again, I'm claiming that potentially African Americans are the original Jews, right? But she's Jewish and has a lot of insight that she's sharing. And again, I believe dialogue is good. Let's talk.
Well, I got an example for you on that one. Is an African American really an African? Who's real black? A black man from Africa or a black man from an African American?
I
mean, it's kind of the same view that as the Jew person on the whole aspect on it. It's just it can go both ways. Like you say, in my point of view is like the way that I see it. If that specific point of view wants to be pointed out, sure, no problem. I could say the African American took it. We can look at the the Native Americans. We can look at other races around the world. Also, they probably had different historical background, suffering and coming through on it. But probably saying it, I would say should be no issues because in this area, in this region, how we present it, it's a wave of interest because by that being said, it sparks that interest, that thought, that research. I'm like, why? Why is this being said? Could that be a form of communicating out there? Just to push the information out there for people to start probably even discussing and having those debates to learn more about it. Because it's interesting, because really until we started doing this, I never knew about it. You know what I'm trying to say? Every time you brought it, and I saw it like on the post you had, I think the other day on it. So it's kind of interesting on my side because I never looked at that point of view of a specific race.
I never knew that there was an issue between the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans or Mexicans from California and Mexicans.
No, but even though that's a great thing. 20 years ago, yes. Nowadays, within how things have changed, the unity between them has been more embraced and accepted.
Gotcha.
You're not trying to say, because I would say going to those 20 years ago is because you remember Puerto Rico, we're young. I mean, we only been 100 years under the U.S. flag and 500-year colony under Spain. Puerto Rico never been an independent country, never been like that. So having been under the U.S. in the 50s when we were actually already more active, you know what I mean, and that specific area, you having that first wave of people moving into the United States and interacting with those other Hispanic cultures, you know what I mean? And being in Hispanic culture, you come in and you're already U.S. citizen by birth, then that gets people a little bit kind of like differently. But I think nowadays the unity within the Hispanic community has grown more closer on that specific point of view. By going back on what you're saying, it's kind of interesting to see that point of view, because I mean we can debate probably different races could be in that same position.
Well, the thing, if I might just interject, within the Christian faith, the just shall live by faith, right? That is a principle. There's neither white nor black, or Greek nor Jew, right? But we're all one in Christ Jesus. There's neither slave nor free, right? Free man. We're all one in Christ Jesus. However, there are a couple of different covenants that God has put in place. There's a covenant with Old Testament Israel, right? Stemming from Mount Sinai and Moses, right? There's a covenant with the church, right? The New Testament church. We're currently living in the church era. So God, he still has some promises that he's going to fulfill and some faithfulness to put on display towards the nation of Israel that historically has represented his name prior to the church age, right? And, I guess the time that is referred to as the Great Tribulation also has another name. It goes by the time of Jacob's distress, right? Jacob being the prophet prior to his name being changed to Israel, who wrestled with the angel, right? And upon his, overcoming the angel, God changed his name to Israel, and the birth of the nation of Israel became, started from there. But again, there's just a lot of parallels between the African-American experience being here, from 1619 up until present day, roughly 400 years, and what the nation of Israel went through. And then you got passages like Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, that speaks to, God saying that he's going to allow, certain individuals to return into bondage in Egypt. And, he said that they would never go back there, but they're going to go back via way of ship. America is, accessible, by large bodies of water, right? So in Old Testament times, you didn't have to use a boat or a ship to get to Egypt. America is also largely based off of Egyptian symbolism, right? When we look at the dollar and the periods, right? And the pyramids, pardon me. So you got all that stuff, working. Again, as a theologian, as a student of the Bible, it's our job to not shy away from these topics, right? And I understand it's a topic that a lot of people feel can cause division, but I believe if we dig into the Word of God and we do it with the right heart and the right spirit, then there's a lot to be learned. There's a lot of edification to be provided to the body of Christ, and that is the true intent behind even bringing this topic up. So I'm interested again in hearing everybody's perspectives.
I'll address your first question on the color of Jesus' skin. Does it really matter? If you want to pray to black Jesus, pray to black Jesus. If I want to pray to white Jesus, I'll pray to white Jesus or brown Jesus.
Right.
Or as Talladega, little baby Jesus, 6 pounds, 8 ounces, Right. It's all about the intention.
Now, Tim, I asked you this before. What is your background? Are you, from a Hasidic background? Are you Jewish by chance?
Oh, the nose might look Jewish, but I'm not Jewish.
You know what? Listen, let me tell you a quick story. I got in so much trouble at work. Bill, I don't know if I told you this. I used to work for the administrative officer of the U.S. courts. I was a federal watch officer, right? Now I had this boss, and she was always joking around. But you know how it is with the boss. They can joke, but you better know what you can joke about, right? And what you can't joke about. So I just was feeling myself one morning, and I thought it was a good idea to ask, this lady, this woman, right? Are you Jewish? Because there was something going on about the Jewish faith. And I asked her, are you Jewish? And she looked at me like this, right? That should have been my warning, right? Not to cut it short. I said, because you look Jewish, right? She said, excuse me?
Is she black?
No, she was white, I was just joking. She said, excuse me? And it felt like she punched me in my stomach. I said, oh no. I don't know how I got here, but God help me now. Then the next day she told an ethnic joke and like it was nothing, and looked at me, like I can
she
do
got
it.
you back, huh?
Got you.
I can do it. You can't.
To answer your question, I mean, I was raised Southern Baptist and Church of God. As I got older, I kind of steered away from the labels because in my eyes, all different denominations are all leading to the same place. It's all about how you explain it,
right,
and translate it, but it's all leading to the same place. So I don't claim to be any one denomination. I mean, I just take it for what I believe is what it is,
Okay.
I guess that's why I'm more laid back and like, who cares what color of the skin of Jesus you think it is? It don't matter. It's all about the intention and the lessons.
Yeah. I guess for me, it goes down to the lineage. And, again, looking at the African-American experience, there has to be a reason, why, again, everybody's looking at us as if, we have no, moral upbringing and no values, right? We get portrayed on TV as the thugs and, we had, look at Bill Cosby. He was, the picture of wholesomeness. Right now he's in jail, right? They call him Bill Cosby, right? The legacy that he built, the Jello pudding pops, right? We got that no more. That's gone.
You know what? But Bush, what you're saying though, I think it's misleading because I don't see it that way. I don't see as the African American being the thugs and being. I got it. Yeah, and the movies portray certain ways. You can put them. I mean, yeah, I got it. What the movies are saying at that specific view, but I think
BET, right? BET.
Yeah, I think that's what I don't really what I didn't like was BET. Was one thing when it first came out. I didn't like that segregation.
A lot of the programming, right?
I did not like that point of view of like why. And this is me as an Hispanic guy. It's like I don't want a Hispanic PTV. You know what I mean? No, because I don't like. I never. Me as a kid growing up and seeing that, I was like, why? Why this be something different than everybody else?
It wouldn't be a brothers dwelling in unity if I didn't make reference to my 5 degrees, right?
There you go.
Got to put that out there, So am I the oxymoron, right? Or again, what is being portrayed? Again, I'm not unique, but I think what is portrayed out there is something else. It's something different. And is there a purpose behind it? What's the purpose behind it?
Well, even with them, because we can see how times even old race were put good and bad in certain ways. What I'm trying to say? And one way is just seeing the entertainment aspect of it, and one way seeing the educational part of it, because I can go to an Hispanic neighborhood or Hispanic community and everything they're going to talk about, drugs, sex, or whatever negative to get people out of the street is going to be Hispanic actors or filmmakers, because they're trying to hit that specific community or target market itself at the business aspect. So you want to look at at this point, I'm looking at the business side of the house. What is my target market that I want to hit? What I mean? If I want this bit to be, we can say even with music itself. People say this music is gangster music, this music to move people to do bad things. Understood. Yeah, it might have some different type of message. It's people saying we're talking about the street life. Understood. But does not mean that Brother Bush over here, even though he's from New York, doesn't mean he is this bad thug. He had that opportunity to be there. but he made that choice in life to not be that person. Same as anybody from Billy's aspect had the opportunity to be a thug and didn't want to do a thug with, even from the Hispanic side of the house or anybody. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I got a story. I drove through Tennessee, right? I was going to sleep in my car. Some of the local residents says, you don't want to do that.
So were you in Memphis?
You know what? I was right by that. I saw the pyramid. There's a pyramid in Tennessee, right? That's interesting. I saw that pyramid. That's paying homage.
Was that a mountain?
I'm not sure if it was a mountain. It was a glass pyramid.
Oh.
What is that?
Chattanooga?
Was that?
Chattanooga?
Not sure. But I was driving to California, and I skirted through Tennessee, and I did a.
Where were you driving from?
Was that?
Where were you driving in from?
That is the Memphis Pyramid, initially known as the Great American Pyramid, formerly refers to as the Pyramid Arena, and locally refers to the pyramid, the Tomb of Doom.
I was like, what is that?
And the Baths of Chof Pyramid.
I took a picture of it.
They were right to tell you not to sleep in your car.
The Memphis Pyramid, yeah.
The whole family had tattoos too. I was like, whoa, this is a tough place.
Yeah, and avoid Memphis at all costs. I heard a guy ask another guy, what's the bad part of Memphis called? And he said, Memphis. Yeah, you want to avoid Memphis. That's one of those, whatever. This is true story. Back during a few years ago, during those riots that Black Lives Matter had, they shut off Graceland. I mean, that's Elvis Presley's home. And it just gets bad out there. It's one of those parts that's really bad. And of course, it's like any other area. But, I hate to do this, to quote Joe Biden, but Captain, you ain't black.
Bill, you're going to disenfranchise me from my people, man.
I feel like Tim does. I mean, does his skin color really matter? I mean, and look at it from before the flood. All of this land was connected together. There was no division. I mean, I guess I could, Pocahontas can say she's Indian. I can say I'm black.
Right.
I mean, my people come from the same part. We all come from Adam and Eve, and with it all being connected, and there's OT. But I mean, honestly, think about it. I mean, I don't think it matters what color Christ was.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I got reading some messages from Susie. Said Jesus did have dark skin, but that doesn't mean anything. He walked this earth and was out in the sun all the whole time. He is a shining light. So there's a Chinese God and a Japanese God, African God, and Spanish God, and white God, and so on. There's only one creator, and he is God, only one. And that's a good point. I mean, as religion comes different backgrounds, I mean, Buddha's, everybody has a God, I'm trying to say. Even the Indians, Incas, Mayas, they have the wind god, the sun god, the tree gods, and everything. But at the end of the day, there's only one God.
Hey, let's welcome DeLeon Harris to the Brothers Dwelling in Unity.
Well, he got like 28 minutes. Now he want to jump in. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, he good. He's gonna leave with a bam.
30 seconds.
What's up, LT?
BH, you got 30 seconds.
I'm just listening.
Is that a cheat tag you got on?
Oh, the Steeler game is over. That's why people popping up now. You know what I mean?
Is that a Kansas City hat on?
I need one. It's Tuskegee. Did the Steelers win?
I don't know. I was reading some posts over here, but everybody's like, "What's wrong with the Steelers?" I'm like,
"Man, I think they're still undefeated."
Are they?
I'm curious to know. Give me a second.
I'm about to let you know in a minute. Don't worry.
Let me just say this, gentlemen, about the topic of I guess the color of Christ. From my perspective, it's not so much the color. I think the color is just a second and third order effect or attribute. What's really in view though is lineage, right? God has a covenant with a certain people, and these people they fell out of God's favor. In order to make way for the Gentiles to be received by God, right? So them falling out of God's favor open up the door for the Gentiles. Now, but God hasn't cast them off forever, right? Whoever these people are, right? The Jews that the Jewish people that occupy the land Israel right now. A lot of people believe that those aren't the original Jews, right? I just talked with a lady. She says if you test the DNA, there's been a lot of intermarriage and crossbreeding of I guess the peoples, right? So, but you can find some DNA in those people that live in that land. But again, all the original Jew people that
the original Hebrews.
Right, the original
Yeah.
Hebrews. A lot of people believe that they're not, right? And then
a lot.
It's a lot.
Hey, Steelers lost. Just throwing out there before we get too deep.
It's kind of deep. It's kind of deep.
I think they were the last undefeated team.
Yeah, they lost against Washington. No
Big
longer
Ben?
known as the Redskins. Yeah.
Hey, Torrey's a Steelers fan. He's still holding on to the 70s.
Hey, they lost to a team without a name, huh?
You're right.
Hey, does Denver have a quarterback yet?
You know what? I'm 97, 98. That's all I'm going to say. I thought I saw something about the Broncos playing a game without a quarterback.
They still playing better than Atlanta.
Okay, so now what is this not playing without a quarterback deal? I don't understand. I don't follow football, so I don't know.
They don't have a starting quarterback, right? That's what it is. All the quarterbacks are hurt.
Oh.
I think the dude was the last week was a receiver.
Oh.
Goodness gracious, are you serious? Wow.
Yeah, they had a receiver in the game playing quarterback. I mean, it is what it is.
My team is mad at now.
He played high school quarterbacks. That's good enough. Put him in. Put him in.
Go to my backup team, the Buffalo Bills.
Man, hey, Bills are good.
All right.
23-17.
That's a New York.
Bills are riding high.
There you go.
But man, I was hoping we'd have an undefeated team. But oh well. Anyway, what I missed? What else y'all talk about?
We talk politics. We talked. We just talked a little bit about Christ and does color matter, right? We're wrapping up. LT. We normally. I'm actually working tonight. And again, we had to push this to the right because we didn't do the show Friday. We didn't do it Saturday. But again, hey, the floor is yours. Harris, what you want to talk about, brother?
I ain't really got nothing. I just want to listen in. There ain't really nothing going on. I'm just waiting on all this stuff to end. I was poking fun at Billy earlier today.
Yeah, but he really dropped because he lost.
Harassing Billy daily.
Yeah, I had nothing else to do.
I tell you, one of the saddest comments I ever heard somebody make was from my cousin, my blood cousin, and talking about this color of Christ. He said, "Well, my God's not black," and I had to remind him that Christ wasn't white. And he said, "Well, he's not black." And all that mattered to him was that he wasn't black.
Right.
And that right there, that's part of the problem.
Yep.
And we're not being taught this stuff. It starts locally. It starts at home. And we're not being taught this stuff.
All I need to know is his workout regime. Because that dude has some abs like crazy.
You talking about Christ?
Jesus, yeah. You seen those abs?
Well, he wasn't from the South then.
You know what I mean?
He wasn't eating fried chicken.
No.
Yeah. Man, who knows? I don't know what kids are taught these days in school. I just remember growing up, all you seen was a white Jesus in everybody's house. But going back to what you were saying, Bush, about the original Hebrews, I don't know what it was. It was just, I kept hearing about it, and I just did a YouTube search. And all this stuff came up, and all these books I've never even heard of about who the original Hebrews were. Apparently, the original Hebrews were black. And I was like, man, I've never heard this. So I started digging into it. And a lot of people believe this. And I'm not going to say anybody's right or wrong, but like you were saying, there's a lot of people out there that believe this. It's worth reading about, but you don't know what's true or not these days, really. As again, I argue people all the time, but then I digress and say, you know what, when I was in school, we had 9 planets and 2 genders.
Yeah, no kidding. I want to go back to those days.
You're right, yeah. I like how you broke it down.
We could have been wrong.
I like how you broke that. Yeah, when I went to school, it was 2 genders, 9 planets. I like that one. I need to copyright that one from you.
But we could be wrong. I don't know.
Right. Okay, no, appreciate it, Harris, DeLeon, LT, sir. Again, Brothers Rolling Unit, we're here to discuss these topics, relate everything to biblical principle, right? Not necessarily
on the table.
Everybody's cup of tea, but, again, we all bring our different God-given perspectives to the table. If there's something you want to talk about, by all means, bring it up and we'll talk about it.
No, I'm good. Just
Captain,
waiting on all of it to end.
I like to.
January 20th, right? December 14th. Big
Man,
day.
I'm telling you, hey, I got the plane tickets and ready to go.
Got it? Okay.
Hey, take a picture of Trump for me, please.
I will. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna take a picture of the FedEx moving trucks that'll be outside.
All right, come on. Biden ain't even going to have his chance to move his stuff in. They don't have to be there.
No, it'll happen. I don't see it. I don't see it changing. Nothing's gonna change it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, but nothing's happened yet. I mean, the electors haven't met yet.
Well, I got a different perspective from a question we got earlier. Hey, LT, what do you think is gonna be how do you think the international is gonna view us now as Biden's trying to either to fix or change or try to adjust on certain things that we got ourselves away from?
I think the world has seen they can move on without the U.S. And they're gonna keep moving on. I think we're gonna have to work hard to get back in the position where we're in before. You know, again, as we move out of places like Iraq, out of Afghanistan, out of Africa, out of South America, people are gonna feel that void. They're gonna make it happen. And they've made it happen, and they see they don't need the U.S. to make this happen. I got to think they're going to want us back in for our financial stability and things like that. They still want us in there, but they've seen they can keep it moving without us. And somebody's going to fill that void, and China's been trying to fill that void. But I think that's one of those abusive relationships some of these countries got with China. I think they'd rather be dealing with America, with the values that we have and the rules and the legislations we have and just the standards, as opposed to a nation that just all they want to do is win, win, win. It can't be a zero-sum game. So I'm hoping that we're allowed back at the table, because I don't know if anybody's ever seen Alexander Hamilton, but you want to be in the room where it happened. And for a long time, we haven't been in that room, and we should have been in that room. Whether we disagree or agree, you got to be in the room. Right. You got to be in the room, and we've not been in that room.
A seat at the table.
We got to be at the table.
Gotcha.
That's great.
All right. Well, gentlemen, going around the horn, I guess we talked about politics and election, the COVID, of course. We talked about Jesus Christ. Was he white or black? Does it even matter, right? We talked business, of course.
In between, he was in between.
All right. I was gonna say a joke, but I just said let me stop.
It's Monday, man. We started the week.
I do that
for Friday.
Something about Oreo cookies, but I don't think that would be appropriate, right?
Yeah,
I don't think anything's appropriate these days.
No, he's right. No, yeah.
HR is gonna come get you.
Right. But again, what I like to do is maybe say a prayer, and then Bill, if you would do the invitation to receive Christ for all the viewers out there that are listening, right? I'd be most grateful. So Lord, we come before you in the mighty name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. We thank you for the time to fellowship together as brothers in arms and brothers in the faith, and discuss the things that are taking place currently on the earth to your glory and to the edification of the body of Christ. And Lord, we know that we might not know what's going on, but we know that you hold the future. We're grateful for that. We know that the very hairs of our heads are numbered. We ask that you go before us and walk beside us and our families each and every day, and lead us to that promised land that we all are waiting to enter. All these things we ask and pray in the mighty name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God bless all the brothers dwelling in unity, participants, and all their families, and all the viewers out there in Facebook land and wherever else this broadcast is being viewed. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, we pray, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, gentlemen. Billy, invitation.
Hey, Captain, I will make you feel better or worse. I'm not sure which, but there was a Broncos quarterback. Y'all actually had a quarterback once who said that he doesn't know or what his future holds, but he knows who holds it.
Hey, man, we talk about Tim Tebow.
Oh, Tebow.
Yes,
it was hard not to like Tim Tebow. He sucked on the field, but man, it's hard not to like that dude.
Yeah. He's
football.
Heisman Trophy winner, right?
Hey, and national champion.
The winner.
Now, I tell you, the best decision you'll ever make is receiving Christ, regardless of
Yeah,
what
it's hard
color
not
you
like
are.
that dude. I liked Peyton Manning too. It's guys like that. It's hard not to like these guys. On
Yeah,
and off.
Peyton was my favorite. He was
Yeah,
my
it's
favorite.
hard not to like him.
Yeah.
A Tennessee boy. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah, he was.
Man and family.
Yeah, they come from a good family.
Hey, just change something. You see what happened with the Jets? They fired their defensive coordinator. What he did. They were finally going to win a game with 23 seconds left in the game. 23 seconds left. Dude listed 7 players.
Wow.
And the quarterback easily threw a long touchdown to win the game. They were up, I think they were down by 3 points with 23 seconds left in the game. He blitzed 7 players.
Wow.
He was fired the next day. They wouldn't have win. They would have been their first victory.
Hey, he was trying to make a name for himself, right?
I don't know what he was trying to do. I honestly think they're trying to lose so they can get Clemson's quarterback.
Gotcha.
That first round draft pick. But
that's never been done before, right? Take a dive.
Hey, exactly.
Hey, I'm gonna take you guys' help for my next bet. Canelo Smith on next fight on the 19th. Who you go for, sir?
Dude, I actually stopped watching boxing when I kept losing money off of it.
I need help. I'm down for 2 fights already. I need to go up on the show.
No, I don't know. I can't help you. I can't help you when it
comes
to MMA.
Your boy, who did he fight? What was that guy's name? Badu Jack?
Badu Jack. Hey,
that dude was serious, man. He was throwing some heat.
Hey, he got the next. I just posted on the shot. His next one for the Mayweather thing. He's looking for that.
Blake.
Yeah. Blake's looking. That YouTube guy's talking heat with Blake, so they want to put the YouTuber guy with Blake.
Oh wow!
The one that knocked out Nate Robinson.
Yeah.
Hey, Nate was talking a lot of junk too.
Merciless.
Go ahead. Hey, what about you, Bush? What? Canelo or Smith?
You know what, man? I tell people it can happen anytime. I'm 4-0, right?
No, but tell me, Canelo or Smith? Who you go for?
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about my boxing career.
No, I don't got your boxing career still.
Nobody cares about your boxing career.
We got to stream that one of these days. By the way, we got to put that up. You know.
Yeah, we do. We need to start the show with your video.
Canelo, he's the favorite. You know, the favorite. You know, and people love him. He's a hard hitter. Mayweather made him look like an amateur, but that's not. You know, Mayweather is going to do that to a lot of boxers.
Yeah. You know, what about you there, Cooper? What do you think?
I don't watch it, so I don't follow. So I'll tell you what. You want a winner? Pick with your gut.
I did that past 2 ones. It wasn't good.
I'm not even going to try to.
So I'm going to go against my gut this time. What about you there, Billy?
Yeah, I was going to say go against your gut because you've been wrong this point.
Yeah, he texted me last minute.
I'm like Tim. I haven't followed boxing or any sports for a while, so I don't know.
Yeah,
the last fight.
I'm 4-0. If I didn't say that already.
5 degrees, 4-0. There you go.
I hope LL Cool J is watching.
LL, shout out to LL, James Todd Smith, best rapper alive, the GOAT, right?
The last boxing match I watched was Pacquiao and Mayweather.
Hey, Pacquiao might come up with the last kid. I mean, that's the talk right now. Supposedly Pacquiao wants to get into the ring with whoever fought with Danny Garcia last weekend. So we'll see.
Didn't Pacquiao lose his last fight?
Oh, he was done like Nate Robinson.
No,
that dude was gone. You saw that. You need to look at that. You need to look at that YouTube knockdown. Look at the Pacquiao knockdown. That thing was.
Yeah, I would have doing that COVID.
Oh man,
isn't he a senator?
Well, did y'all talk about the vaccine?
We did a little bit, yeah.
Y'all gonna take it? You gonna do it?
Yeah, probably after the 28-month trial for me. I'm waiting a little. See how many chicken dance people start doing. And then I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm put it this way. My stocks went ridiculous up with Pfizer and Moderna. I got on that boat early.
Did you got them early? Yeah.
Oh my God, that thing is like
Moderna. We got on at 96 and it's selling at 160. Yeah. But I'm telling you, man, I don't care what Pfizer's at. Don't bet against Pfizer. Don't bet against Pfizer. Pfizer will buy Moderna out if they see the need. Right. It's just such a big company. It's hard to, but you know, Pfizer's got some highs and lows. When they lost Lipitor and what's the blue pill? Viagra.
Don't they make Viagra?
No, they used to. Hey, the funny thing about Viagra, I never heard about erectile dysfunction until I heard about Viagra. So they had the disease and the cure the same day. It never made sense to me.
Let me share something with y'all. I'm gonna share something with y'all. The recruiter or the translator had the hookup on the little blue pills, right? Back
Really?
in the day in Iraq, right?
Why would you need that around a bunch of guys in the infantry?
Listen, no, I'm
You're
married.
about to go on a raid. You're about to go on the raid.
Listen,
Backstepping.
listen. I'm gonna let that die
I'm just
down.
asking a question. I'm curious.
And I'm gonna come
Why
back.
you need that in the infantry battalion?
Well, listen, I had him. You know, there was a health and welfare, right? So I had this big bottle of creatine. I just threw them all in the bottle of creatine.
Yeah, I get you. Makes sense to me. Help you work out. But yeah, I'm curious about it. What's gonna happen? Because you know, I'm thinking, you know, I got a lot of coworkers that we not gonna take. And like, what if they force you? What if they say you can't come to work unless you take this shot? So I'm gonna be the first one in line. I'm gonna say I want the one with the chip in it. Give me the one with the chip in it.
It'll be interesting because it's gonna be like, what is it? The essential workers are gonna get it first. So
yeah, doctors and nurses. I remember when we were in Germany, we were getting that. What was the shot that we got?
Anthrax.
Anthrax.
Was it the anthrax? Yeah. And the doctor went on TV and somebody asked him a direct question. What's the effects going to be down the line? Oh, I don't know. I'm like, really? And so we were all lining up to get it. I got in line and I started trying to fade to the back where wasn't nobody looking. And then somebody said we want all the officers up front. I'm like, what?
Lead by example.
I was trying to lead out the door.
I said something the other day, I don't know if it's true or not, that said that what if they offer $1,500 stimulus, but the only way you got that was by getting a vaccine? And people were like, no,
nah, you gonna do it?
And I said, you know, I was in the Army. Who knows what all they gave us?
Exactly.
Hey, Jim,
I'll take that shot multiple times if I get your $1,500. I don't care.
We talk about this topic. Every household needs to be having this conversation. Are we going to take this vaccine, right? You know, God talks about time in the Bible where, you know, brothers are going to turn against, you know, brothers and fathers against children, children against parents. You know, if you don't take the vaccine, but you got a family member that, you know, takes the vaccine. Matter of fact, I went to a restaurant in Maryland, right? And they had this little QR code. It said scan, you know, the QR. I was like, is this law? Because this is contact tracing, right? And I'm like, oh, so you want me to put my name in a database so you can come and get me if I don't take the, or if I come in contact with anybody, right?
Yeah, my daughter, when she tested, we were trying to get her results and she was like, I think they're supposed to call me because she's had the test a couple of times. And I said, I don't know if they call you, but I thought you got an email. She said, I didn't get my email address. So I told my wife, I said, go online and create one of those, they call it like, I forgot what it's called. It's like a folder. You know, if you go to your doctor, you can go check that folder to see what your prescriptions are, see what your blood was, the results were. Yeah. So so she said she didn't give them any information, no email address. But we logged in and put her social in, and all her information came up. And so I'm like, how did you not give them this information, but they have it already? And it came up our social security, whether she had whether she tested positive or not.
If you're not compliant, they coming for you.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any way of getting around. You can run, you can hide, unless you like Mark Klein living in the mountains somewhere. They're gonna get you. They're gonna make it a requirement whether your kids go to school, whether you go to work. If you're an essential employee, it's gonna be hard to say no.
Yeah, and again, that's why it's so important, because it's very possible that this may be the mark of the beast that God is referring to. And if you take that mark, right, again, your DNA potentially may be altered, then you can't make it to heaven, right? So you don't want to give up an opportunity to, you know, we were created to live eternally with God, right? We're not created to go to hell. That's for the devil and all the angels that, you know, rebelled against God. But if we're ignorant to what's going on and we just take this, God says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, right? So let's get educated. And that's why we're here talking and having these conversations. We're joking, but this is spiritual.
Yeah, it's gonna be serious. The attorney that represented the people during the syphilis trials, he came because I live in Edwardsville, but SIU is also here, Southern Illinois University. Gotcha. So the dude that was the attorney during that dog ring the doorbell. Stop when I sit. So the dude that was attorney came here and gave a speech, and I had no idea how deep it was. And he also wrote a book, so I bought the book and I started reading up on it and how they got the guys to get into those trials. So they actually thought they were receiving a cure. And then when the trials were running after they had a cure, and they still didn't give the guys the cure.
Wow.
So, man, it's a deep book, the way they got over on these people and the things that people would do. And, you know, they say they want to see what the long-term effects, let it play out, let the virus run its course. But man, to do that to another human being is just sick. It makes you wonder what things they will do to you.
Not on that
dog out.
Not on the brothers dwelling in unity watch. Not gonna happen.
Well, so what if God, created this coronavirus or whatever because we're overpopulating the earth, and this is a way to thin the herd?
That is a theory that's out there.
Let me ask you, how do we verify that that's the case? What source?
I've heard Mark talk about that depopulation control or population control, and I know that's the plan they want out there, but I don't think God would do that to his people to thin the herd out. Now, he did it with the flood, but that wasn't to thin the herd, that was to get rid of sin. And this here, we've already talked about, come from China as a way to push this COVID-19 situation to get this mail-in ballot stuff, and here we are.
Right.
Now there's the first.
Maybe I should put God into that statement.
No, it's good to put it because a lot of people do think about that.
Now, I tell you something. Now, when we talk about the vaccine and we talk about the mark of the beast, I don't know if it will be the mark of the beast, but whatever the mark of the beast is, we know it's not going to be something that's innocent where we won't know what we're taking. We are going to know what we're taking. In terms of mark of the beast, it's not going to be something that's so innocent that we're not going to know what we're taking.
Right. Hey, Bill.
Does it say that somewhere?
Yeah, it's Revelation.
That we're going to know you're taking the mark of the beast.
Yeah, when it's not going to be something that's so innocent that you're not going to know what you're taking.
You're going to have to make it a choice,
right?
To take it or not take it, a conscious decision.
And you know
what? This is the last opportunity. The idea behind that is that God has already removed the church, right? And now
the rapture
opportunity for individuals who are on this earth to be reconciled to God. So while all these atrocities are going on, you got a decision you got to make. Are you going to, depend on man, right? Are you going to depend on, have faith and demonstrate faith and, trust God for your deliverance, right? The socialism, right? We got the cure. We got what you need. We got money for you. We'll take care of your needs. Or are you going to depend on God, right? The creator of the world, right? So the choice is yours at that point.
We're going to fail then.
God help us.
We're going to fail.
I
say that because, man, it's easy to say what you won't do when you don't have to do it, when you're not in that situation. This is, again, going back to Iraq. I mean, some of the people that we were on guard against or killing or attacking, it hit me. These are not diehard, converted, radical Muslims. A lot of these guys are doing this to feed their family. Somebody says, blow up on a U.S. soldier, throw this IED, throw this hand grenade, whatever, kill an American soldier. I'm going to take care of your family. So do you watch your family starve to death because you can't provide for them anymore? Or do you take that risk? And I think that's really what it was. A lot of those people were taking that risk to kill an American soldier to feed their family. So it's hard for me to say what I will and what I won't do once I see my family in that position. So if you watching your kids starve because you won't take that vaccination, I think push comes to shove, a lot of people gonna take that vaccination. I like to say I won't, but I'm not gonna let my daughter starve. It'll be a compromising situation that you'll be put in. It won't be easy.
And that goes back to my point about
just to be clear, if you are in the faith, right, the idea is that God is going to rapture the church and they can't even implement this plan to issue this vaccine. I've seen videos where theologians have laid out that this is an Old Testament principle. Before you can herd the remnant or the gleanings of the harvest, the harvest has to take place. So God has to pull his people out, and then whatever's left, that is now free game based on biblical principle that it belongs to the occupants of the land, right? So they can come in now and they can start tagging people if you are somebody that is going to accept it. But again, the mercy of God is that there's still an opportunity to get to heaven if you, you know, are martyred, you know, and
What if you get Amazon stock at like, you know, you pay 10% going rate for Amazon stock? It's a lot of people, I think, that would take it.
See you, Mindy.
Got you.
People
No,
don't do it.
I got you.
Well,
Hey, Jim, we're gonna wrap up. De Leon, thanks for coming on. You know, always good to see you, brother. And your insight, I appreciate it genuinely. We had Lieutenant Colonel Dykema on. We had Abel on a little earlier. Tim joined us. Tim Cooper. Billy, you were giving an invitation to receive Price, right?
What's that now?
You were giving an invitation to receive
Oh,
Price.
that's right. My bad. Yeah.
Hey,
go ahead,
let Tim say what he wants to say.
You can't interrupt the invitation to receive Price, LT.
Hey, let Tim say what he wants to say because he was on.
Okay.
just real quick, I was going to say, at the end of the day, they're going to make us take it one way or another. Like Harris was saying, if you're drawing Social Security, disability, or if you're on any government assistance, all that they got to say is, you want this check, you better take that shot. If you want your kids to go to school, guess what? They got to take that shot.
Right.
That's all it's going to take, and then we're going to have to conform.
Right.
It's gonna be rough.
Hey, and again, you know who your trust and confidence is in, right?
That's true. It's true.
You know, is it in man or is it in God?
Hey,
Is it in
officers
God?
first.
To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, right? You know,
Man.
our lives anticipating and expecting that meeting, you know, where God is going to say, well done, thou faithful servant, right? Or we just here, you know, with no purpose, right? I pray.
This is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor.
Oh, it's today. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so now this is why this is the most important speech I'll ever give. To quote Donald Trump.
I hear you. I hear
Yeah,
you.
so the decision to accept Christ is the most important one we'll ever make. It's the most easiest one. But then you have to live it. Then you have to live it because, as we were talking about, if this is happen to be the mark of the beast, we're going to have to, and that's whether we're here or not. Depends on what you believe. But if we are here, then we're going to have to decide whether to take it or not. And that's where our faith comes in at, which is why Christ does give us opportunity after opportunity, which is why we don't want to say no when he says, depart from here, I never knew ye. He will give us eternal life, and all we have to do is live for him. He died for us, so the least we could do is live for him.
Amen. Well said, gentlemen. On that note, unless we got any other alibis, we're going to call it an evening. We're going to be on next Friday, right? Again, apologies.
This Friday.
This coming Friday, we'll be on. Apologies for, you know, not being able to stick to a predictable schedule. Been a little
It's the
holidays and, you know, not going on, you know, but, you know, again, always a privilege and honor and, you know, great to dialogue with the brothers, right? You know, so
Sure.
blessings to you and your families.
Hey, I'm white. Can I call y'all brothers? Hey, it's good to see y'all.
Brothers.
LT, appreciate you. See you.
Hey, have a great week, fellas. Have a great week.
Have a good night.
God bless y'all.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Take it easy.
Captain,
Yeah,
always good.
I give you a
Appreciate
call,
you.
brother. Great job tonight,
God
brother.
bless you. We'll see you.
Likewise.
It's fun. Can't wait for Friday.
That's right. Let's do it.
God bless you. We'll see you.
Amen.